Morning, Nye County. We have Pastor Carl England from Choice Hills Baptist Church giving the invocation today. Please stand if you'd like.
My name is Carl England, spelled Carlengland. Let us pray. Father, we come to your throne this morning, and we ask, Lord, that our vertical vision would affect our horizontal vision. We ask you to give wisdom from on high for decisions that need to be made today. Lord, we thank you for our community. We thank you for our county, our state, and our country. And we ask, Lord, that we would look to you. We pray for each one to be in good health. We pray, Lord, for longevity. And then we pray, Lord, that we can say that it was because of you. So we ask you to bless these things today and each person that's involved, to be with those for both sides or whatever it might be. But that, Lord, at the end of the day, we would know and we'd be thankful. So we ask for your encouragement this morning now. I pray in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. It's now 10:03 a.m. I'm going to open up the joint meeting. The Nye County Board of Commissioners, Nye County Board of Highway Commissioners, Nye County Licensing and Liquor Board, Nye County Board of Health, is the governing body of the unincorporated town of Pahrump, is the governing body of the unincorporated towns of Beatty, Gabbs, Manhattan, and as the Board of Trustees for the Pahrump Pool District. Commissioner Carbone, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, I'd like to take a roll call, please. See, Commissioner Boskovich.
Present, sir.
Thank you. Commissioner Strickland, are you on the line?
Chair, this is Sam. If Commissioner Strickland is on the line, she will need to press *9 to raise her hand, or she can end her call and call back in using the operator PIN.
Commissioner Cox.
Thank you, Sam. Appreciate that.
Good morning.
Commissioner Cox. Thank you. Good morning. Commissioner Carbone.
Present.
And Commissioner Jabbour is present here in Tonopah. Good morning, everybody.
I'm here,
Manager.
Good morning, Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on the line. Sorry you're not there. You're not feeling well, but get well soon. Try to take it easy. Number 2, please, Manager.
Item number 2, general public comment. Up to 3-minute time limit per person. Action will not be taken on the matters considered during this period until specifically included on an agenda as an action item.
Do we have any public comment in Pahrump, please? If you can switch the camera, I can. Thank you.
Yes, we do. John O'Brien, O''B', first name John. Years ago, we made the decision to allow the county commissioners to represent Pahrump. With the 5 sitting commissioners acting in the best interest of Nye County, they represent their constituents. With that also comes responsibility. I look at Ben Franklin as a politician who drafted the law and decisions based upon a scale of pros and cons, scientific theorems and postulates. Before you were many great commissioners who pioneered Nye County as a rural and Old West mentality. Men like Dick Carver who butted heads with a dozer to make his point clear and concise. He also was a very clever thinker. I still remember Rich Thurlow's editorial photo with Dick Carver sitting on the top of a cat dozer with BLM painted on the blade. Laws are being mandated that don't always come with a map and a set of directions. Allowing tiny homes unfastened to the ground just begs for disaster. Front page, Pahrump Valley Times last week. Recent winds in Pahrump have been clocked on my weather station in excess of 90 miles an hour on multiple occasions. Dust devils have been clocked skirting my weather tower at 128 miles an hour. One has to ask, How's these little tiny homes going to stay on the ground? One of my job titles was plan reviews for Nye, Esmeralda, and Lincoln counties. Their conditions are no different. Being a trained fire inspector and International Building Code Council structural review officer, I again have to ask, do you want to accept the liability for tiny homes not attached to the ground being allowed in our community of Nye County? Liability knowing the risk of a certainty. I look at Ben Franklin again, and I look at statistics, and I wonder who was the brainiac that thought up this law. It's not you, but you've got to answer to it. You're following the law. Sometimes a higher authority just doesn't think. We've seen trees sheared off from the tops here, rooftops peeled off, unsecured trailers rolled multiple times, fully laden with the person's possessions. We sat there, we've seen power poles sheared for entire blocks here in Pahrump. How many sheds have you seen picked up and wrapped around power lines? The climate of Nye County isn't conducive to, quote, tiny houses. I haven't even looked at flooding. What is a tiny house going to look like if it can move 150-pound boulders around? The resources of Pahrump are also not conducive to, quote, tiny houses. The Nye County Commission years ago set 1 acre quarter lots as a standard for development. If a person wants a tiny home, put it on 1 acre and a quarter and stick to your guns. If Nye County is mandated to have tiny houses, do it somewhere where they blow like tumbleweeds and they're not going to bother somebody next to them.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
And by the way, I didn't have my agenda item for today, and I'd still like to have that. Thank you.
Go ahead, Ms. Southworth and Pahrump, please.
Good morning, Diane Southworth, Southworth. And I have worries. I am worried about our country and the divisiveness that's being caused by whomever. They're restricting, state legislatures are restricting rights all over the place. They're restricting rights on women. They're restricting rights on transgenders, on gay people. They're restricting voting rights. They're restricting whether you can have a lockbox or not for voting, whether you can mail in ballots, trying to make it harder to vote. It seems that everybody's to blame. You know, black people are to blame, white people are to blame. Well, no, not so much white people. Gay, Jewish, Asian, Hispanic. I don't think that there are 100% black people that are bad or 100% of any group that is. There's a small percentage of each one of us. I don't like the idea that they're restricting what kids can learn in school. Black history, Indian history, the way we've treated people in the past. You have to tell them the truth because otherwise they're bound to repeat it. What I am seeing today reminds me of pre-Germany, before Hitler, and how he divided people and got them to do what he wanted them to do because it wasn't them. Well, eventually it's them. So it's something that we all need to consider and work on. This is a great country. It can be a better country, and things need to be done to make it so that not freedom's being taken away all the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody on the phone, please, Sam?
Yes, Chair. The caller is unmuted. Please speak and spell your name for the record.
Yes, good morning. Amy Nelson, Nelson. I want to ask everyone to remember Ray Walensky, the flag man. Ray walked these streets and our highways for decades, waving the American flag and standing up for the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. He stood outside the courthouse for years with his flag and his weapon on his side until he was told he couldn't stand there with it anymore. He still walked Highway 372 when he was really sick. He is a historical figure for this valley, for this county. I hope that there's going to be a plaque or some type of remembrance for him to represent what he stood for and what this county stands for. He was our shining lights to all of these constitutional beliefs, and he sincerely believed in them. Ray is on hospice, and he's not going to make it. So please keep Ray in your prayers and his family in your prayers. And again, talking about the Constitution and voting that was brought up, AJR 6 is being presented as we speak, that will forever change how voting takes place if we let this happen. They want to only use popular votes. That means the major cities like Chicago, LA, San Francisco, New York City, Las Vegas, all of these places will be the ones that will determine who is elected president or high official offices. And that cannot happen. Our rural county voices will forever be silenced. Our votes won't count if we do away with the Electoral College. I heard the comment on Hitler. I lived in Germany in 1951 to 1956. I can tell you now the way Hitler did it was to convince everybody that they should trust him, and he gave them free housing, he gave them free food, and then he divided the country by his rhetoric, talking about one particular ethnic group. And that's being done today. Our president has pointed out and made people believe that MAGA, Make America Great Again, is a cult and is a horrible terrorist group. And that is not the case at all. I think that people should really look at the history and stop trying to change it. Stop dragging down the statutes and statues and just get along in this country and make it great again. I thank you very much for the time to speak, and I hope the meeting goes well.
Thank you, Ms. Nelson. Excuse me, Sam. Do we have a DA presence in Chambers and Pahrump? Or on the line, please?
Yes, Chair, we have Marlo Zlotek with us.
Thank you. Welcome, Marla. Nice to see you again.
Thank you, Chair.
We do have the sheriff here in Tonopah. Do we have a deputy in Pahrump?
No, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, switch the camera over to Pahrump so I could see if there's any. Thank you. Mr. Garcia, go ahead, please, in Pahrump.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael David Garcia. Hope everybody's doing well in spirits. The chips are down, obviously, when it comes to Constitution accountability. We're seeing it play out right now. There's no judicial oversight. I've been begging this commission to look into it. The only way we can protect this community is to protect the integrity of this commission. If we have bad county actors that are mischievous towards protective constitutional rights, such as this microphone, okay, it's an inalienable right. It's free speech. It's what separates us from the rest of the world. There's no use for a Second Amendment if we can't protect the good stuff in the First Amendment. As a father, I can speak on this microphone. Across the road, I'm terminated. Terminated. Why? Because I speak about parental alienation. Right now, we're discussing 85,000 children misplaced, unaccompanied, without accountability from government that are illegal immigrants. I ask in 2019, there's 500,000 kids that district judges across this country weighed the best interests of a child in error, per CPS's own data. They unconstitutionally seized children. The number one trafficker in this world is our government, per data. It's time we wake up. Parental interference is NRS 200-392, I think. Parental interference is the NRS. NRS 241 is public meeting violations that are going on right across the town. We got a superintendent that thinks he can supersede all procedural due process, which is a violation of the 14th Amendment, okay? Now, granted, our sheriff, our DA, everybody tells me my remedy is in the trespass warning. I should not have to spend any dollars to defend my constitutional right to speak on this microphone. We had a superintendent in error made a false allegation per email, and it had me trespassed. I was arrested, incarcerated 3 times for sticking up for children that are not biologically mine. I've been cast out. Okay, it's time to wake up. All I'm looking for is judicial oversight. On a county, federal level, it's all playing out. I just happen to be a few years early. Granted, it might have been on death years, but it's a more perfect union. Okay, without this microphone, we don't need y'all. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Is there anybody on the phone, please, Sam?
Yes, Chair. The caller is unmuted. Please speak and spell your name for the record.
Hi, good morning. This is Tim Bohannon, Bohannon. On a sports note, if you will, turn to our high school teams, Round Mountain, Tonopah, Pahrump Valley, boys baseball, and then the girls, Tonopah and Round Mountain, as well as Pahrump Valley, all have a shot at getting into state playoffs this year. And let's get out there, support our youth, support their abilities, and cheer them on. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else on the phone, please, Sam?
No, Chair.
Go ahead, Mr. Westerlin here in Tonopah.
Good morning, Joe Westerlund with the town of Tonopah. Last name is Westerlund. And I just wanted to update the commissioners who helped us get the dirt work done up at the rodeo grounds or fairgrounds. We are finishing that project up this week. The awnings have been installed and the SST is going to be installed starting tomorrow. Should be finished on Thursday. So if you're in town, drive by the fairgrounds and take a look at how it turned out. It really turned out great. The next project will be trying to get lighting out there. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else on the phone, please, Sam?
No, Chair.
Okay. Hearing and seeing no public comment in Tonopah, Pahrump, and on the phone, I'll close public comment. Number 3, please, Manager.
Item 3, Commissioner Manager's comments. This item limited to announcements or topics and issues proposed for future workshops and agendas.
Commissioner Cox?
Yes, I'd like to see Mr. O'Brien's item put on the agenda for the next meeting here in Pahrump this month. And I would also like to see the bill or ordinance that we turned in, well, actually Priscilla from the Wild Horse and Burro Act Committee turned it in, and that needs to go on also. It's been a couple of months already for both of these issues. And, you know, things would be a whole lot better in this world if the school district would go back to teaching like they did when we were kids and teach these kids something about the Constitution and respect and honor for the flag and their fellow man. You don't get that in schools anymore, except my great-grandkids do, because they have to go to a private school to get that. And they can sing God Bless America, every word of it. And they salute the flag every morning. And there's a couple of more songs that they sing about America that are wonderful. So I think we're lacking respect within the school districts and within the school teachers, personnel, higher-ups that have a new way of life that they're trying to shove down everybody's throats. And frankly, the people are getting tired of it. We need to forget the bickering and all the other stuff that's going on and put these kids first. If anybody would like to say that to the school district, you can tell them I said so. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you. Commissioner Strickland?
Chair, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. I'll make sure I keep this mic open. I don't have anything, but I'm hoping one of the commissioners that went out to Prairie Farm will share with us, please, because I was unable to attend. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Boskovich, please.
Thank you, Chair. So good morning, everyone. And first thing I would like to ask, I'll be brief, but the first thing I'd like to ask is If I can get some help from staff on finding out the number of known commercial kennel and specialty animal permits we have currently going on, and are they all current with CUPs? Secondly, along those lines, I believe that we kind of need a cap limiting the amount of these licenses at any one time, similar to the way we have a cap on the amount of fireworks stores. It's a super concerning subject, and it's been in the news with a bad actor a while ago, and I just feel like the way to handle that is to sort of place a cap on the number that we allow, and then first of all figure out the number we have, and then place a cap on it, potentially reducing that number, and then through attrition, as it gets down to where it belongs, to a manageable number, then we can continue from there. That's the first one. The second one is the clarification on the tiny home thing that we voted on at the last meeting. The number 3 that we chose was, in my opinion, the least intrusive of them all. And at no point do I want to see a county full of tiny homes. It sort of plays along with the homeless comments that I made last time as well. The problem we have with that is a very, very big problem, and it's just going to get worse and worse. If any of you have traveled to any larger city, just drive around and look. There's tents, and there's, it's just disgusting. It doesn't mean I don't appreciate and understand and care about homeless people or people who, are down. That's not it at all. But I don't want to see our land go straight to hell because of the way they're living on it. So there's that. And then my last one was, did we ever get any money for Amargosa to get their electronic sign? And that's all I have. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Carbone, please.
I'll go and talk about Prairie Fire so Debra can get some input to that and the rest of the folks. A very interesting visit. There was several of us that went. There was the county manager was there, the DA was there, Brian Kunze, Ron Boskovich was there, as well as Brett Wagoner. So, it was a great presentation. We did a little bit of shooting, a little bit of walking around, a lot of commentation from the folks to tell us what their plans are. Hopefully, if everything works out, it'll be a great destination for folks to go to. It should help hopefully the economy of the town and the county. So just a little tidbit there. Other than that, I have nothing else, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, commissioners. And again, welcome everybody. I will turn this over. Do we have any managers wishing to speak? General Manager Weeks in Pahrump. Go ahead, sir.
Dan Weeks, WEEKS. It's my pleasure to be before you today as the General Manager of the Nye County Water District. Mr. Jabbour asked that the Water District General Manager offer a report on our status. I'll try to be brief, but there are some things to go through here, and your questions at the end will be welcome. It's been roughly a year since the restart for the Nye County Water District Governing Board. In that time, we have held 7 meetings. At this time, as we stand here today, everything in my office is statutorily compliant. I'd like to start with just a few of the Water Board's successes. Starting number 1, the Nye County Water Board members all seem to be functioning very well together as a body. They are participating well in the meetings, and they're engaged in my office on a regular basis. All of the board members thus far seem to be genuinely engaged. They're eager to feel their role to serve the people. Moving on, the Water Board has secured a $280,000 grant, federal funding, and implemented a cloud seeding program in the Spring Mountains. At this time, we can't take, of course, the credit for it, but at this time, the snowpack in Mount Charleston is 250% of average. We'll take some small credit in that. Moving on, the Water Board has taken the action, and it's been a long time coming, to hire a specialized legal counsel for water-related issues and litigation. This firm that the board has selected and hired is without local conflict of interest. I believe them to be the best choice for the Water District moving forward. This important action will become more relevant in the years to come. The firm's name is Schroeder. They're a water specialized firm in Nevada, Idaho, on the West Coast. The Water Board has also taken the initiative to fund a Bureau of Reclamation grant to pursue a flood control program in Pahrump. This is, of course, obvious. Flood control is good because we get flood problems here. But if it's done right, it's possible that we can turn this flood program into a precipitation recovery program and potentially add to our yield. The Water Board, also, this is another important action that they've recently taken, is to fund the Desert Research Institute's existing groundwater model of Pahrump Basin 162. And this is a sophisticated software set that looks with X-ray vision under the ground, so to speak, and we'll be calibrating that existing model to match it up with the data that Mr. Klinke has gathered in our water monitoring program. Hopefully, that model will bring some clarity to some of the hard questions that we've been asking and not getting good answers to. And I guess that's what I want to touch on, is that once the model is calibrated, we should have a better idea on what the wet water is, what's really going on in the ground, and what wet water we have resources to move forward with. Number 6, the Water District has also begun funding educational trips out to Ash Meadows for our local high school. I think that this is incredibly important. We're just in the beginning of it, and we're working with Megan Labadie in Natural Resources to create some curriculum that will accompany these. It's incredible. You can't imagine how cheap it is to send a busload of kids out to Ash Meadows. It's only a couple $100. And it's really important that the children that grow up here understand where their water comes from. And a lot of them, unfortunately, don't. There's a lot of adults in our community that don't understand that all of our water is groundwater based. It's all trapped here. We don't have any external water. So it's important from my perspective as the manager to continue funding those projects. And eventually, I would like every single student that comes out of Pahrump Valley High School to have gone out to Ash Meadows and been subjected to this curriculum. Wrapping up our successes in the first year, we've made significant strides in reducing the costs associated with the operation of the office by reducing legacy contracts and reducing other funding burdens through efficiency. The office has also updated all of our basic operating equipment, that's all the equipment in my office, and managed to do so with reduce the monthly expenses in the process. So our overall burdens on staff is down, our equipment is down. We're running at about 50% of what we were spending previously. I could go on about the successes of the Water Board and the individual work that the Water Board members have done, but it would take me a long time. So I'll move on to some of the challenges facing the Water District moving forward. Starting off, the Water Board continues to seek the difficult answers of the actual recharge, yield, and outflow figures for Basin 162, which is Pahrump. Of course, the Nye County Water District is concerned with the entire county, but right now we have serious critical, so my focus has been here in Pahrump on Basin 162. We will be moving north and dealing with some of the other challenges that we face soon, but right now we've focused our trying to be laser focused down here on Pahrump. Determining these actual recharge, yield, and outflow rates, these are the master numbers by which all of our calculations are based, including our potential population threshold. So that's where we're focused. Another challenge, the Water Board needs to continue to find new granting options. We do not, at our current taxation level, have the money to tackle any capital projects. Our current funding is essentially operations. We operate at less than $300,000 a year on a $5 per parcel taxation. That doesn't make a lot of room for major projects. So another one of our challenges is finding more money so that we can address some physical issues. A major issue that the Water Board, that they are all in step with, is that the Water Board continues to seek ways to bring down the over-appropriation of paper water. This is the extra water that the state has issued in Basin 162. The current drawdown strategy that we have in Pahrump is retiring water through the creation of domestic wells. And every time we create a domestic well, we retire 2 acre feet of water, excuse me. The board sees this as inequitable in the fact that all of this drawdown strategy is based upon property owners who must develop a domestic well and cannot hook into a municipal system. The board feels that we need to work together as an organization so that we can find ways that the drawdown of the excessive paper water rights is burdened on everyone, including subdivisions and actual retirements of water rights, in commercial development, in actual retirements of water rights, so that the only retirements currently are taking place with the construction of domestic wells. We need to move forward as an organization to find ways that we can all work together and equitably draw down the paper water rights. Moving on.
Excuse me, Chair, if I may, and I apologize to the speaker. Marla Slotek on behalf of the Nye County DA's office. I'm not sure if there's a time limit on manager comments. However, this item's limited to the announcements, which are usually announcements, hey, there's a party coming up, something in the park, we're working on a certain project, or topic or issues proposed for future workshops. I don't know if this item, if it continues much longer, if it should have its own agenda in the future, but I just wanted to draw that concern.
Thank you, Deputy DA. I appreciate that. I know that the manager's almost finished with his report, and this does have to do with possible future workshop with all of the information that he's presenting to us. Please continue, Mr. Weeks.
I will be brief. I'm almost finished here, and then I'll accept be welcome to your questions because I'm sure you may have some. Number 4 on our challenges, the general manager continues to find new ways to do things wrong. I'm getting better every time I do my posting, but without Sam and Janie, I would be completely lost. We wouldn't have made it. The water board needs to become more involved, and this is, I think, where some action, as Mr. Jabbour mentioned, the water board needs to become more involved, and this is through conversations with my board and through the items that we've brought forward, on all new planning projects that have significant water consumption involved. At this time, we don't have review. The water board is not reviewing planning projects, significant or insignificant, unless it's directed by this body specifically. We will not, as the water board, be doing that if no action comes from this body to direct the general manager of your county or the manager of the planning department to do so. So if you don't tell them to involve us, they won't. So if you would like the water board to be reviewing planning issues and water consumption issues, you must give direction before that will take place. And that's the end of my challenges. There's certainly more. There will be more challenges coming. Water is difficult. But if you have any questions for me, I'm available.
Excuse me, Chair, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So you mentioned a water study to figure out where we actually are. Is that correct? Who's doing this?
So Desert Research has an existing model that was created previously through funding through DRI and the Nye County Water District. That model is maintained by Susie Ripe, excuse me if I butcher her name, Rybarski. It is the best, as far as the scientists have told me, the most dense grid and the most sophisticated model thus yet created for our basin.
Do you know when that will be available? Because Commissioner Strickland and I have discussed at length and trying to get an actual number as to where we are on water. Because some people will scream, we're out of water, and others are saying, my well is just artesianing, and in areas that it didn't. So we really, really need a clear, concise number to know.
I believe that Ms. Rybarski is without political or internal conflict. She's completely outside of the system. She's dedicated. I've had several deep conversations with her. She has a deep sense of craftsmanship, and she's dedicated a significant portion of her career into creating the model. I believe it's the best that we have. That doesn't mean it's complete. Now, we funded $10,000 for Susie to work on the model, and I intend, once we get the contract all done and we get it into the computer, I will be billing her. She'll be billing ours. Yeah. It needs to be calibrated to the measurements that Mr. Klinke has gathered. Once that's calibrated, then we'll have some real answers, because you're right, the numbers aren't square. Right. And that's the goal. One is to calculate the recharge, the yield, and the outflow numbers. And that's really what we have to do before we can have serious conversations moving forward.
Right, because we have to know where we start.
Yes, sir.
And then the other issue I have is I've heard talk, and correct me if I'm wrong, but are people on your board in favor of a moratorium at all here, or as far as any
moratorium of what?
Building. Any new construction, any new residential, any new...
I would say absolutely not. What we're striving for is to find the best available real number, so that we can maximize our growth potential without damaging the underlying aquifer. So we want to find the best possible number. We're not trying, I don't believe there's anybody on my board that's trying to zero out development.
Good.
But I think everybody's looking for a trustable scientific number so that we can say where is enough, because at this point right now, we don't know what that potential population threshold is.
Right. I appreciate that. And then the only other issue or question I had or comment was I appreciate your guys' offer as far as being more involved in planning and things like that. But I will say I do trust the departments that we have. They're all there for a reason, and they're all very good at what they do. So I appreciate everything you guys are doing.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Cox, did you have any questions for Manager Weeks?
Yes, just a little bit here.
Thank you.
Have you guys been working with or in contact with Great Basin as far as trying to find out how much water we actually have? Do they have statistics that we could use?
We've been having meetings with the Division of Water Resources to determine that, not necessarily Great Basin Water Company. Great Basin Water Company has been a participant in some of those conversations, but we've been seeking the ultimate authority, which is the State Engineer's Office, to try to determine what those figures are.
I would love to know what's underground. I hear all these different stories. I can't see it myself.
There's no X-ray vision, and we'll never get 100% determination, but what we do is we try to seek the very best available science and then try to find things that converge, that tell us, that give us confidence that what we're estimating is true.
Okay, because we're in kind of a pickle here. We try to make decisions for growth, but it's basically based on water. You know, I would love to see a moratorium till we did know what's down there, because I hate to leave thousands of people high and dry if something goes wrong. And I've been in situations where it's went wrong, especially after they put the prison in and they pumped 1 million gallons of water through their main lines and then another 2 million gallons of water to fill the tank. So we lost 3 million gallons. And although they told us it wouldn't cost us anything, down here, if they put that in, well, it didn't come true because people's wells were going dry in the south end, because that's, you know, everything flows downhill. So Great Basin, I understand, has put a well in at 1,500 feet over off of Malibu. So we know that apparently there's water that far down, and most of the wells are only at about 120 to 160 feet. But they tell me if you go over, if you drill your well a little extra, you go down about 200 feet, you get really good water. Because most of the water we're getting now in our wells is very hard water. And it's hard on everything on your property, and it's hard on your plants, it's hard on drinking, it's hard on washing your clothes, washing your dishes. So I don't know really where to go with this. I just wanted to give you a little insight as to what people know out there. And if it would be beneficial to work with Great Basin, a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit, and use the figures they and the estimates and everything they've gotten over the years. Yeah.
Great Basin is an excellent stakeholder. They're a good partner to the water district. They've been very productive. Any conversation that I've had with any of their associates have been good ones.
Okay, because it's going to be a big loss for them too if the main well goes dry. So.
Well, if I could just say something about that. We don't have
Chair, I so apologize to interrupt again, but I just want to caution that it seems like this is going into discussion, factual exchange versus the proposed workshop regarding the issue of water and reports and when they're going to be done, or maybe a proposed workshop between the stakeholders. So I would strongly caution that this is an agenda item for comments, for proposed workshops or issues to come before this board. So if we can just stick with that, and I think it's getting into some discussion and exchange of facts.
Thank you, Ms. Zlotek.
Anyway,
Commissioner Cox, are you finished?
No, having a workshop would be great. I would love to attend something like that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Strickland?
Given what Marla Zota has, excuse me, I can barely talk, said to us,
okay,
I believe it's time that we move this forward to just that, a workshop between the Board of County Commissioners and the Nye County Water District Governing Board. Thank you, Chair.
And the public. Thank you, Commissioner Strickland. Thank you, Deputy DA. And I want to thank Manager Weeks for the presentation and the report and the update. And I will say this: almost every agenda item that we talk about and we put forth is so very important. Without water, it doesn't mean anything. We need water. We need water to live, period. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. So this is such a very important subject throughout the county, throughout the state, throughout the country. And we're struggling to get the answers. And we so appreciate the water board that's in place and Manager Weeks. So thank you again, Manager Weeks. I think you've stepped away at this point. I don't see you anymore. Go ahead, Director Wagner.
Certainly not here to discuss anything, Director Wagner, W-A-G-G-O-N-E-R. The only suggestion I was going to give, if there's a future agenda item for a workshop, I don't think approaching it as a mandate from the BOCC is really the right way to get that done, as far as involvement of the water district. I think it would be more appropriate through code amendments to put it in the process if there's going to be a desire to do so. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I don't think it's the board's duty to mandate that one department works with another, but building it into the process is probably the better way to go. So thank you.
Thank you, Director. Are there any managers on the phone, please, Sam?
No, Chair.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Elliott in Pahrump.
Stephanie Elliott, E-L-L-I-O-T-T, the Contracts and Grants Manager. Just wanted to address the question that Commissioner Boskovich had regarding the Amargosa Valley electric sign. We had reached out to a member of the audience back in November to submit a budget or a project idea. We've then reconnected with a Town of Amargosa board member who will be presenting later today to try and also get an application forward. So we're just awaiting that future agenda item so that we can allocate possible funds through the ARPA program.
Perfect, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Ms. Elliott. Okay, I will close Commissioner Manager comments at this time. Did you have something? I need to reopen. Number 3, Commissioner Manager comments. Go ahead, just say and spell your last name and make sure the green light is on, please, Bo.
Good morning, everyone. Bo Gott, GOT.
I don't think the green light's on the microphone.
It's like it. Oh, there we go.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Good morning, everyone. Bo Gott, GOTT, Assistant Public Works Director. Just going to give a quick rundown for the road report.
Hold on.
We'll call you up for that.
Yes.
Oh, is that?
You're on the agenda later.
Okay. Apologize again.
That's okay. I know you were trying to rush us. Okay. We will close Commissioner Manager comments at this time. Number 4, please, Manager.
Item 4, approval of the agenda for May 2nd, 2023. Commissioners, the only item to be removed from the agenda today is item number 5, emergency items.
Thank you.
And the next item is item number 6, 10 a.m. timed item for possible action, public hearing, discussion, and deliberation to adopt, amend, and adopt or reject Nye County Bill number 2023-02, a bill proposing to amend Nye County Code Title 17, titled Comprehensive Land Use Planning and Zoning, Chapter 17.04, titled Pahrump Regional Planning District, Article 3, titled Zoning Districts, Establishment and General Provisions, Section 17.04.230, titled SE Suburban Estates Residential, removing subsistence farming as a permissive use and adding farms for the raising or growing of tree and bush crops and or field crops for commercial or household use, and providing for the severability, constitutionality, and effective date thereof, and other matters properly relating thereto.
Thank you, Manager. I believe that's Director Wagner standing in prop at the podium. Thank you. Thank you, Janie, for switching the camera.
Thank you, Chair. Brett Wagner, W-A-G-G-O-N-E-R. So again, kind of like I alluded to last time when we were setting this public hearing, this bill draft is actually kind of deja vu. This was correcting something that mistakenly got changed when we were trying to make some changes to address the hemp farms that were popping up in residential areas. Inadvertently, staff had accidentally added in to SE the permissive use for subsistence farming. And back in 2016, the residents in that area had actually solicited the county commission at that time to actually do a zone change. They paid for it, of course, but do a zone change to actually remove the keeping of livestock in the SEZ zone. So this is just putting it back to the way it was intended and changed before, correcting an error that was made by planning. And I'm available for any questions beyond that.
Thank you, Director, for the clarification. Are there any questions for the Director from the Commission, please?
Yes.
I have none, sir.
Hold on, please, Commissioner Cox.
Thank you.
Hold on, please. Go ahead, Commissioner.
I have none, sir.
Oh, I thought you said. Go ahead, Commissioner Cox.
Okay, if we're putting this back the way it was, where it says subsistence farming is being marked through, is that the word that we had that accidentally got in there, or the phrase accidentally got in there, and we're taking that one out, right? So in the previous, it said in the blue, for the for the raising and growing of trees and bush crops and field crops for commercial and household use. Is that exactly word for word what was in there before, or is?
Yes, ma'am, it is. And what happened was when we had came up with subsistence farming, we had to also come up with a definition for it, and that's where it had, you know, keeping of livestock and stuff in there. So But yes, with the proposed amendment, this puts it right back to the way it was, and it was adopted before.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify that for myself. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Director. Commissioner Strickland, do you have anything for the Director, please?
No, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And Director, I believe you clarified for me the last time that this would allow for field crops, whether it's commercial and or household use, where there was a little confusion at the last time it came before us, but you did clarify, and if you'd like to expound, I'd be happy to hear it.
Yes. Subsistence farming purely made it to where you could have animals and field crops for household use, not necessarily commercial use, other than in a couple of the zoning districts we have, you could do that with a CUP. But so all this is really doing now is removing the livestock portion out of that. And we're not going to obviously have subsistence farming in there because we have a definition that includes keeping of livestock for household use. So.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, Director, if you don't mind, let me open this up for public comment. Don't go too far away, please. I'm certain there'll be some questions. Is there any public comment on the phone, please, Sam?
No, Chair.
Thank you.
Chair,
Yes, Commissioner.
once you close public comment, I'd like to make a motion.
Well, I was waiting for them to flip the camera back because I didn't want to close it until I know for sure. Thank you, Janie. Hearing and seeing no public comment in Tonopah, Pahrump, and on the phone, I will close public comment and turn it over to you, Commissioner Carbone.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to make a motion to adopt Nye County Bill 2023-02.
Second.
Do you need an effective date?
Excuse me, Chair.
Yes, is that Sam?
Yes, Chair, it's Sam.
Yes. Yes, Sam.
I would like to request, please, for the commissioners to identify which draft in the backup they would like to adopt. There's one that's the proposed version, and then there's the amendments to the proposed version. Both are clearly indicated by the footers and the sections within the backup, and it would be helpful to have that on the record.
Yeah, these are the ones that are kind of in not the proper order, correct? Yeah.
They are.
So the one I want is
the amendments to the proposed version is the draft that the department would like adopted.
yeah. So it would be the proposed draft, correct?
The amendments to the proposed draft.
The amended
Page.
proposed.
Page from page 3. Am I correct, Sam? From page 3, not page, not page 19, not 19.
No.
I want to say it was 11. Yeah.
The amended proposed draft is what we're going for, because that's where it just takes out that one item. And that should be it.
The backup, the amendments to the proposed version does start on page 3. There's the clean version, and immediately following there's the track changes version. So if you simply state within your motion to adopt the amendments to the proposed version, that should, I would think, satisfy.
Okay, to the proposed, okay, I will. Again, Nye County Bill 2023-02 and the proposed amendment. And the effective date would be May, I've changed the pages, May 22, 2023.
Commissioners, was that the proposed version? Or the amended proposed version, just for clarity?
The amended proposed version.
Perfect, thank you.
Yes, thank you. And Commissioner Cox, could you amend your second, please?
Yes, I will. I
Thank
amend
you.
my second. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Too many proposed items in here.
If there's no further discussion, we're satisfied with the amended motion. I will call for the vote, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Carbone, aye.
Jabbour's aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Strickland was
Number
aye.
6 passes 5-0.
Effective date is May 22, 2023.
Number 7, please, Manager.
Item 7 for possible action, discussion and deliberation regarding the general road report by the Public Works Director on general road maintenance, gravel road maintenance, asphalt patching, weed mowing, and direction regarding public works projects.
Your turn. And he sent you up here to be massacred, so have fun.
I didn't send him up there to be massacred. Tom Bowling, B-O-L-L-I-N-G. As part of...
Look who it is.
Oh, look who it is, yeah. As part of, learning to be an assistant director, he has to learn how to do the road report. So go ahead and take it away, Bo.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Bo Gott, G-O-T-T, Assistant Public Works Director. I apologize for earlier. I should know. I will figure this out sooner or later, but just want to apologize.
No need to apologize.
Okay. Thank you. So just a quick rundown on our road report. For the Southern District down in Pahrump, our main focus is continuing on the Basin Road project. Everything's up to schedule and it's looking good so far. We're also preparing 3 small sections to be repaved on May 9th. Those are Linden 372, Dunes at Shoshone, and Fox at Gamebird. A couple of those are flood repair, and Linden 372, we removed some concrete where there was, it was a deep depression concrete, so we're removing that and repaving part of the road. As far as the Central District, we'll be paint striping Farm Road, hopefully today, weather and staff depending. Also, we're continuing work on Spring Meadow Road, hauling and spreading gravel. Up here in the Northern District, the crew is continuing with flood repair on Gabb's Full Line Road and other outlying areas. We're looking to utilize some culverts we have in stock to help reduce future flood damage. Short and sweet. You guys have any questions?
I got a couple things too.
ahead, Director.
Adding to what Mr. Gott said, beginning on the 15th. What's up? On the 15th, we are going to start our chip sealing program by going and getting our first load of oil for the year, which is exciting because that's a whole month ahead of schedule from last year. So that's really exciting. We'll be able to put our new chipper to use for the first time, and it's going to be exciting. I think we're going to have a good year chip sealing and trying to make the roads better throughout the county, not just in Pahrump. That's all I needed to add. Turn it over to you guys.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Cox, you have anything?
No, I think I'll pass this time. I'm just waiting on a lot of other things to get finished first, and then I'll give you some more. Thank you.
Yeah. One of the projects he talked about is the Black Road and 372. That's your project, Commissioner. Just to let you know. Commissioner,
yes.
Commissioner Boskovich?
I have nothing. Thank you.
Commissioner Strickland?
I do, Chair. I just wanted to make the public aware. I get a lot of phone calls about why we're not striping after the roads are done, and I would just like validation, verification by Mr. Gott that we don't stripe and we're the ones who are striping, being Public Works, until we've accepted the project and it's complete. So that's why it lays in wait. Is that not correct, Mr. Gott?
We have recently got our new striper, which we're really excited to put to use. We've gone through some training on it, and we are planning on striping out in Amargosa this week. So once we get that down, we'll be able to move on with our future.
I believe that,
striping
correct me
process.
if I'm wrong, Commissioner, you're talking about Pahrump Valley Boulevard?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chair.
Yes. You're welcome. Director Bowling, would you please talk to that?
I can
for
go
a
ahead and
second?
take that, Bo. Yeah, up until recently, we didn't have enough completion of that road until I think it was the beginning of April. And since then, we've been pretty busy, so we haven't gotten out there to do the striping on that road, but that is in the works. As soon as we're done with Farm Road, we are moving to PVB to stripe that road. But yes, she is
we've
correct.
concluded.
We didn't have enough completion of that road to be able to go out and stripe it, because once we stripe it, we accept completion of that road.
We've concluded all our business with the contractor.
I'm not really at liberty to discuss that at the time, but
Okay,
enough
thank you.
to be able to put striping on the road.
Okay, thanks. Just want to make sure we're kosher.
Exactly,
Mr.
Chair.
Dwarf.
I'm
You're
good.
welcome.
Thank you, Chair.
With that, I'm going to open this up to public comment. Any public comment in Pahrump?
Pat Minshall, M-I-N-S-H-A-L-L, Amargosa Valley. And this is about Farm Road, which was completed, I think, over a year ago. And we've been waiting for the striping. Commissioner Cox mentioned a few weeks ago that it's dangerous to not have the striping. During the day, that's not a problem. At night, with those lights coming towards you, particularly if someone doesn't dim their lights, it can be dangerous. 3 times the middle of the road has been marked. Twice with the orange pop-ups, once with paint. It seems Wolfenstein's construction never finished what's called the fogging of the road, which they did do last Thursday, which means, again, it must be restriped, or must be remarked the center of the road. 4 times total, which is expensive and time-consuming that other things could have been done. I know they do a number of projects for the country, and I wonder if they are derelict in their other projects. Many companies, many cities, counties, whatever, when they approve a contract, there's a due done by date, and there's a significant penalty if it's not reached. Evidently, it doesn't state in Wolfenstein's contract completely done, and that seems like how they've gotten away with it, and I think that needs to be looked at. If I had treated my company people, I would not have stayed in business for 30 years. Also, where is the Durapatcher? I haven't seen that being brought out to be used, and that is the only thing that's really taking care of the potholes, and we need to really get that going. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment on the phone, Sam?
Yes, Chair. The caller is unmuted. Please speak and spell your name for the record.
Thank you, Sam.
It's Amy Nelson, Nelson. I'm just going to complain about potholes, and we've got them everywhere, but I've got some major ones on my street, West Prospector, near Wood Chips. And this morning, I drove the back way to go to Albertsons, and so I went down David and turned right on Wilson. And oh my God, the potholes on Wilson are so big and so deep, even the small ones, they made a big bump on my car. And, you know, traffic is pretty heavy on that now since they have all the traffic on Basin being detoured. So there's a lot of cars using that road now. And those two areas, Minor Street and Wilson, are just, and of course Basin between Barney and I would say Leslie is a disaster. So anyway, hopefully they can get to that. I've got no way to apply for it online because you need an address for all this stuff, and these don't have an address. They have a location and you know, a long strip of location. So hopefully they can get out there when they find time and come on my street and fix those holes in the middle of the street. They're getting pretty big. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other public comment on the phone? Sam?
No, Chair.
Thank you, Sam. Any public comment up here in Tonopah? Not seeing any unclosed public comment. And I'm going to turn this back over to the Chair, Board of County Commissioners.
Thank you, Commissioner Carbone. And for the record, we were just sitting as the Nye County Board of Highway Commissioners, and now back to the OCC. Number 17, please, Manager.
Item 17 for possible action, discussion and deliberation to 1, approve, amend and approve, or reject the memorandum of agreement between Duckwater Shoshone Tribe and Nye County for the purpose of providing emergency support services to either party of law enforcement for backup response, radio communication, cross-commissioning to ensure protection, prosecution, and coroner services. In-kind services will be provided by each governmental entity, and 2, execute the agreement.
Thank you, Manager. Go ahead, Sheriff.
Commissioners, this item is pretty much just coming to or documenting an agreement between the Nye County Sheriff's Office and the Duckwater Tribal Office. And really the change in this from previous agreements is that they have requested that they be deputized by the Nye County Sheriff's Office as deputy coroners. The purpose in that is that when an individual living on the tribal land passes away, and not an attended death, but an unattended death, they have to wait quite a significant amount of time for a deputy to arrive at that location. Families dealing with that while they're waiting. And they do have their undersheriff is a retired chief from another agency further up north. I can't remember offhand which agency it is. So he is well adept at the coroner's duties and knows what to do and how to go about it. Also, they assured that they will receive coroner training and review the coroner NRSs. So the goal of this is simply to come to a written agreement to assist each other in times of need, whether it be manpower or emergency services.
Okay, thank you, Sheriff. Are there any questions from the Commissioner for the Sheriff?
Well, then whenever you're ready, we'll make a motion. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, I will need to open this up for public comment, Sheriff. Is there any public comment in Pahrump, please?
No, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any public comment on the phone?
No, Chair.
Thank you. Hearing and seeing no public comment in Tonopah, Pahrump, and on the phone, I will close public comment.
Thank you, Chair. I'll make a motion to approve the agreement between Duckwater Shoshone Tribe and Nye County and execute the agreement.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor in a second. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote, please.
Carbone, aye.
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 Jabbour's aye.
One eye.
Passes 5-0, Sheriff. Number 18, please.
Item 18 for possible action, discussion and deliberation to 1, approve, amend, and approve, or reject a joint powers agreement between Nye County and Esmeralda County to provide law enforcement support to each other utilizing the personnel of their respective sheriff's departments. In-kind services will be provided by each county. And 2, execute the agreement.
And again, Sheriff Joe McGill, the purpose of this, the difference between this agenda item and the previous agenda item is that Esmeralda County is not asking for coroner services. They provide their own coroner services, and they are deputy coroners there. Again, this is a solidifying an agreement to assist the other agency and vice versa with manpower shortage, any emergency needs, calls for service whatsoever.
Okay. Thank you, Sheriff. Any questions for the Sheriff from the Commission, please?
Not me. When you're
I
ready,
will.
I'll throw you a motion.
Thank you. Thank you. I will say that living up here for quite some time, this agreement has been in place, and it works out quite well. It's very efficient, and just the exposure of law enforcement of both Nye and Esmeralda County is very significant up in the area to help with their endeavors as well. Go ahead, Commissioner. I'm sorry, before you do, Commissioner, I will have to open up for public comment. Any public comment on the phone, please, Sam?
No, Chair.
Thank you. Hearing and seeing no public comment in Pahrump, Tonopah, and on the phone, I will close public comment. And I'm looking for a motion, please.
Motion to approve and execute as written.
Second.
Second.
So I,
2 seconds.
yes. Thank you. I have a motion and 2 seconds on the floor. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote, please.
Carbone, aye.
Aye.
Jabbour's aye.
Strickland, aye.
Number 18 passes 5-0. And Sheriff, before you depart, I know you have to get back out in the field. I have a question for you, sir. I want to say, well, let me ask you the question. Are you aware if the Yamba tribe also has MOU in place currently? And if they don't, I know that they were interested in speaking with you as well.
If I'm not mistaken, and I'll have to double check, but I believe that we've already executed a MOU with Yamba that was not brought to the Board of County Commission. And that was prior to our being advised that it needed to be brought before the County Commission.
I see.
You can always bring it to us anyway. Let's go ahead and.
I'll double check on that and make sure that it has confirmed my belief that it has been done and improperly, and then we will bring it.
Good.
Thank you.
We can make that, correct that problem. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Be safe out there.
Thank
Have
you.
a good trip up to Carson City.
Yes. Number 20, please, Manager.
Item 20 for possible action, discussion and deliberation regarding Nye County Proclamation Number P 2023-04, a proclamation recognizing the month of May 2023 as Nevada Wildfire Awareness Month.
Do we have anybody on the phone? We have Chief Lewis in Pahrump.
Yes, we do. Scott Lewis, Fire Chief, Town of Pahrump, and also Director of Emergency Management for Nye County. Before you today, Commissioners, is Proclamation 2023-004, a proclamation recognizing May 2023 as Nevada Wildfire Awareness Month in Nye County. This was a issue brought forth by Tyler Hecht, who is the BLM Fire Management Officer for Southern Nevada. However, he had a personal emergency that occurred last evening and was unable to attend. We do have some of our federal partners at the rear of the room from Fish and Wildlife, and they're waving to you. I'm not sure you can see that, but they'd be more than willing to come down to address any questions. But this proclamation is a joint effort between multiple agencies, and we feel it's a very important message to have a partnership in preparedness so that we can in fact have the best outcomes during any wildland event. Available for any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Chief. Any of the commissioners have any questions at this time?
I have none at this time.
No?
None, thank you.
No.
Thank you. Commissioner Strickland, any questions?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you.
Make a motion when
I
you're
don't have a question. I just have a statement. When these type proclamations come forward, I think they're absolutely wonderful and necessary. But I also like to remind people before and after the fact that every day should be wildfire awareness, and not just in May, that we're so cognizant of what could happen and what does happen, and then the after effect and ramifications, et cetera, that if we just all pay attention every day when it comes to fire, so very important, we can eliminate any disaster and catastrophes, especially in our county. Let me open this up, Chief, for public comment, please. Is there any public comment on the phone, please, Sam?
No, Chair.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. in Pahrump. State and spell your last name for the record.
Haley Mayo, M-A-I-O, Extension Educator, Southern Nye County. On behalf of Extension, who is partnering with these other agencies for this proclamation, we just wanted to thank you all for hearing us and for voting on this proclamation, and to just remind everybody that through Extension we have a Living with Fire program, and this year's message is protect our home, protect our wild, prepare for wildfire. And through the Living with Fire program through Extension, you can learn various ways to be prepared and protect yourself, and connecting with your neighbors and community to be prepared against the threat of wildfire.
Thank you, Ms. Mayo. Is there anybody on the phone now, please, Sam?
No, Chair.
No. Okay. Hearing and seeing no public comment in Pahrump, Tonopah, and on the phone, I will close public comment.
Chair, make a motion to adopt Nye County Proclamation P 2023-04.
Second.
Thank you, commissioners. I have a motion and a second on the floor. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote, please.
Aye.
Everybody aye?
Aye.
Was
One aye.
Thank you. Congratulations, and thank you, everybody that's present in Pahrump and on the phone for this proclamation again. And thank you, Chief.
Thank you, commissioners. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Number 22, please.
Item 22 for possible action, presentation, discussion, and deliberation to approve, amend and approve, or reject the program funding request from Amargosa Valley Town Board under the Nye County ARPA Recovery Plan and Policy, Economic Impacts for Tourism, in the amount of $21,775.
Morning, Commissioners. Stephanie Elliott, ELLIOTT, Contracts and Grants Manager, and so excited. We have Town of Amargosa Board Member Brenda Diamond with our first tourism request through the ARPA funding.
Thank you. My name is Brenda Diamond, D-Y-M-O-N-D, and we are requesting money for a couple different projects. There's the billboards in Mina and in Mesquite for $18,550, and then we'd also like to create and print our own brochure for our town, and then have a kiosk, and that was about $1,500. And then also the third part is we don't have any signage in our town for our various places. Everybody has trouble finding our town office. So that was our other request. Any questions?
Are there any questions for Board Member Diamond, please?
I have none, sir.
Thank
don't
you.
have any either.
Commissioner Cox?
Strickland, nothing.
No.
Commissioner Strickland?
Nothing, Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Diamond, I know that it's come before us before in regards to a large digital updated sign, especially and specifically in front of the community center. I think billboards, and I know billboards very well, they work. Mesquite, I think, is quite a distance away from Amargosa in hopes to drive traffic to Amargosa. I think it's a wonderful thing to get tourism to Amargosa and throughout Nye County and of course our state. Something that I read in the backup, and maybe you can help clarify, is, and please correct me if I'm misunderstanding and misreading this. Is Amargosa already under contract with the billboards?
No, sir, that was, I asked for a contract to present to you.
I see. Okay. I just didn't want you to get locked in if that was the only direction you wanted to go to drive tourism to beautiful Amargosa Valley. Okay, if there are no further questions from the commission, I will have to open this up for public comment. Ms. Diamond, please don't go too far away. There may be some questions from the public for you. Is there anybody on the phone, please, Sam?
No, Chair.
Okay. Hearing and seeing no public comment in Pahrump, Tonopah, and on the phone, I will close public
Chair,
comment.
make a motion to approve the Nye County Opera funding for $21,775 for the town of Amargosa.
Second.
Thank you, commissioners. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Carbone, aye.
Jabbour's aye.
Strickland, aye.
Thank you.
Well, your voice is getting better.
Thank you, Ms. Diamond. Congratulations, and we hope we drive a lot of traffic to Amargosa.
So do we. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 31, please.
Very funny.
Number 23, please.
Item 23 for possible action, presentation, discussion, and deliberation to approve, amend and approve, or reject the program funding request from Tonopah Development Corporation doing business as Tonopah Main Street under the Nye County ARPA Recovery Plan and Policy, economic impacts for tourism in the amount of $52,400.
Go ahead, Ms. Elliott.
Stephanie Elliott, ELLIOTT, and again, super excited. We are reaching all levels of the county, and we have Kat Galley as well as Joni Eastley from Tonopah Main Street, and they'd like to discuss their project, again, using the tourism ARPA funding.
Hi, Kat Galley, Galli, and yes, Joni is here, but she said she's not coming up to the mic, since she's going to take over the meeting. We have two larger projects that we are applying for, and a tiny portion of that is, the third part is for marketing of those projects. We want to document our historic structures and murals and monuments in downtown. That's one of our projects, and we want to document the people who are buried at the old cemetery. That's the other project. This would be information on a website so that it's accessible from anywhere, but with corresponding QR codes at the buildings, murals, monuments, and grave sites, so that people can just take a picture pretty much of the QR code. It takes you to the website, and it takes you directly to whichever building or whichever person you are wanting to look up. We have a lot of resources here in town. The Central Nevada Museum and Historical Society is an amazing research facility where there's tons of photographs and old documents. The Recorder's Office has been amazing in the past. When I researched for the historic walking brochure that's already in existence when I still worked for the town, And we are using all those historic documents to fill the website with information because nobody can see this, but you can grab these brochures all over Tonopah, and they're also on the Tonopah website, tonopahnevada.com. It's very abbreviated because a brochure is just for people to pick up when they're already here. We are hoping to fill it with all the documents, the newspaper articles, death certificates, whichever we can find. There's historical photographs, postcards, and really fill those websites with all those documents that otherwise people don't have access to because they are not lucky enough to be allowed in all of these facilities, with the gloves on. And the intent is to keep people in Tonopah longer, which means they're spending money. And I quoted the statistics from the state in my backup, but for our Silver Trails territory, which Tonopah is located in, it's $128 a day if they're spending the night. So times 2 if they're spending the night. And obviously keeping them here longer, visiting our downtown and visiting our cemetery, which is one of the #1 attractions, is going to keep them here longer, spending money supporting our local businesses. So that's what we want to do. And the marketing would be Facebook and Instagram, because those are, for the amount of money that we're asking, the most efficient ways to reach thousands of people, actually hundreds of thousands of people. And this is just for a year of digital marketing. And before I forget, sorry that I'm totally getting off topic, but I just wanted to give a big shout out to your grant staff. They have been absolutely amazing through this whole ARPA process. We started being in contact with them in December when the grant funding opened, and they've been so supportive to all our local businesses. They did a presentation for our businesses. Actually, remotely, we were here in the room, and they were remotely in Pahrump, giving the information on how to apply, what qualifies, how all of that works. And whenever I work with small businesses throughout the last few months, and I directed questions at them, they've just been on top of it, and it's been wonderful. They're great staff members, and usually I know you guys only hear from the public when there's complaints. I mean, I listened to the public comment earlier, so I wanted to make sure that I put that on the record, that you have amazing staff and they go above and beyond, and I just wanted to make sure that's also said on the record.
Thank you, Ms. Galley, for that. I also would like to thank Jessica and Stephanie and the grants team for assisting you and all of the other applicants throughout the county, whether it's this through tourism or the other entities that have applied, the other merchants and businesses industry that go to them and really need their help. So I will make a disclosure at this time. You mentioned Nevada Silver Trails. I do sit on Nevada Silver Trails as the vice chair of tourism. I am not on the Main Street board, but because you mentioned Nevada Silver Trails, this is in our territory. It goes from Pahrump all the way up to Yarrington, shoots across the state to Pioche, Caliente, Alamo, and then back to Pahrump. So Nevada Silver Trails, which is a division of NCOT, Nevada Commission on Tourism and Travel Nevada. We are the largest territory to help drive tourism to our areas, right? Not just Nye County, but you're here representing Main Street, and certainly appreciate that. Are there any questions for Ms. Galley from the commission, please?
Not here.
No questions, Ms. Strickland.
No questions.
Okay, thank you. Well, I have a couple of questions. I'd like to know, or you may not know this, Stephanie and Jessica will know, is how many communities within Nye County have applied for this tourism grant through ARPA? Is Stephanie still in the audience?
She is.
Oh, there she is. Thank you, Stephanie.
Yes, just 2 so far. So again, we've got the Tonopah Main Street with their 2 projects, and we also have the Amargosa that both have been approved today. We are expecting another application from Town of Amargosa for their electronic billboard. I know that's been a topic of discussion lately. And we have worked a little bit with Town of Pahrump and Arlette in the tourism department. So we're still awaiting. So far it's just been the 2. They've both been approved, and we're down to $55,000 left in tourism at this time.
Thank you for that clarification. So I'd like to know, you did mention when people go to the old cemetery and they're just trying to do research, et cetera, where are you getting your historical data from?
There's a lot of documents from the past. I think back in the day, people were doing a better job documenting than we do nowadays. But a lot of she's going to go ahead and take the mic.
No, we don't want her to take over the meeting.
No, then I'll let Joni,
okay.
Joni do that. But.
Okay.
Can you see me?
Yes.
Can you see me? Yeah.
I can hear
Put your
you.
timer out.
I can hear you, but I can't really see you.
Yeah. I am standing. For the record, Joni Easley, JoniEastley. What was your question?
My question was, thank you, in regards to the old cemetery, when people are doing their research, they're walking, they're inquisitive. Where are you getting the historical data from that you're able to turn over to them?
I use a number of different sources. If anybody's familiar with the website newspapers.com, a lot of the early Tonopah newspapers can be found at tonopah.com. I do a lot of research there. I do a lot of research at the Central Nevada Museum through those publications that are not available digitally. And I have to give a shout out to the clerk's office, specifically Kelly Sidman. She's been tremendously helpful as to go up to the old courthouse and pull coroner's inquests for me from the very early days. For those who don't know, the first Tonopah Cemetery was only in operation between 1901 and 1911. After 1911, everyone was buried in the new cemetery.
Very interesting. Okay.
Census reports, military records, you name it. I have searched those records for these people.
Thank you. Well, thank you for what you do and what Kat does, and your team. You have a board. Is that right? You have a board. Okay.
Yes, Mr. Chair, if I could add one thing, every identified person who is buried in the old cemetery has a file. And here's two of them. I'll let you look at them if you're interested. I chose two that I thought were relevant. One is William Carroll Humphrey, who was a Nye County commissioner, and the other is for Robert Stein, who was the first sheriff of Nye County. And all of them have individual files that are located at the Central Nevada Museum, and they contain not only obituaries when I can find them, death certificates when they are available, because sometimes they're just not available, census records, unrelated newspaper articles that give you more of a sense of who this person was and what they did, photographs when I can find them, and I find photographs of them in the most unusual places. So all of those files are up at the Central Nevada Museum and are available to researchers and as a backup to what will be found on this website. Thank you. Back to Kat.
Thank you. That's why you made such a great commissioner. You did great research. Thank you.
Very nice of you to say. Thank you.
Frank was, pushing on my leg with some sharp object. I'm not sure. Okay. Let me open. Did you have anything else, Ms. Galley?
Just on the newspapers, because I believe newspapers.com is a paid service, right? Library of Congress has the newspapers up to the 60s digitized, and it's free. Yes, it's like Google 20 years ago. So it's a very tough search function, and it takes forever to get to stuff. But when I did the research for the walking brochure, the town of Tonopah wasn't lucky enough to afford that subscription.
Thank you. Okay.
I do have one thing, Chair.
Commissioner.
Just so we are clear, this was for tourism, the funds that were there, Miss Elliott?
That is correct. We had allocated $130,000 specifically for tourism throughout Nye County March a year ago.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, Arlette Ledbetter was the director in tourism for Pahrump. She was actually one of the ones that was pushing for these funds, so, and I don't think she has turned anything in. Do you know if she has? Because I'm just wondering if we're going to have enough funds for anything she does.
She has not entered a formal application. There's been several conversations. She's been seated with Grants Administrator Jessica McCutcheon a couple of times. She's also coordinated a little bit with Tonopah Main Street to talk about their project. And they did decide that it would be best if Arlette focuses on the Pahrump project, let Tonopah Main Street focus on their project.
Just making everybody aware that whatever project she's going to come up with probably may not have enough funds. Because I remember we said $130 some odd thousand or whatever the number was actually her number. So, all right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Did I already open this up for public comment? Well, let me open it up for public comment. Do we have anybody on the phone for public comment, Sam?
Yes, Chair. The caller is unmuted. Please speak and spell your name for the record.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. This is Arlette Ledbetter. I just wanted to call in and say thank you, first off, for affording the funds for tourism. I think that we talked at the time about loosely allocating some $80,000 toward Pahrump, some $50,000 toward outlying areas. Our main project for Pahrump is still pending a proposal, and that project is to move the fireworks launch site located within the fairgrounds to the area that it will live in permanently. Right now, the area that it's located in is the area for the multi-purpose fields. So that launch site needs to be moved so it can continue to generate revenue for the fairgrounds, and so that the multi-purpose fields can be built and begin to generate sports, tourism, hotel revenue, and more for the town of Pahrump. So I just wanted to add that so you know that the project is in the works. We're pending the cost proposal to move that launch site. Hopefully that gives you enough information to make your decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Arlette. Appreciate that. Is there any other public comment on the phone, please, Sam?
No, Chair.
Thank you. I'm unable to see Pahrump. Is there anybody in Pahrump for public comment?
There's none.
Thank you. Hearing and seeing no public comment in Pahrump, Tonopah, and on the phone, I will close public comment at this time.
Make a motion to approve the ARPA funds for this particular project for $52,400.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second on the floor. If there's no further discussion, I will call for the vote, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Or is aye?
Carbone, aye.
Strickland's aye.
23 passes 5-0. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We want you to drive as much traffic to Nye County, Tonopah, Amargosa, Beatty, Pahrump, Round Mountain, Railroad Valley, Current, Duckwater, Yumba, Gabbs.
That was a political announcement.
Did I miss anybody? If I did, I'm in trouble later. And I'll apologize. Number 8, please.
And Commissioner, did you want to open 8 through 12 and 24 at the same time?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sitting as the unincorporated town of Pahrump, governing body.
Well, we're going to be opening all those, the cabs,
Yes.
if we can.
Yes.
Okay.
As well as VOCC.
Okay. Items 8 through 12 and item 24 for possible action, discussion and deliberation to set a date, time, and location for a public hearing to formally adopt the fiscal year 2023 through 2024 final budget for the town of Pahrump, town of Beatty, town of Gabbs, town of Manhattan, as well as the Pahrump Pool District and Nye County.
Chair, whenever you're ready.
I'm ready for a motion, please.
I have a motion. I'd like to make a motion to set a time and date for a public hearing on May 16th in Pahrump at 10 o'clock. That is for items 9, 10, 11, 12, and 24.
And Mr. Chair.
Second.
And number 8.
This one.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 24. Thank you. Okay, let me open this up for public comment, please. Is there any public comment on the phone, please, Sam?
No, Chair.
Thank you. Hearing and seeing no public comment in Tonopah, Pahrump, and on the phone, I will close public comment and call for the vote if there's no further discussion.
Carbone, aye.
Aye.
Boskovich, aye.
Jabbour's aye.
Strickland, aye.
Thank you. Numbers 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 24 pass 5-0. Consent agenda items, manager, minus number 16. We need to open 16.
You have your consent items 13 through 15.
Motion to approve.
Make a motion to
Motion
approve.
to approve, Strickland.
We got,
I
I'll
have
second it.
I have 3 motions to approve.
And 1 second.
That's a first. Carbone withdrew and made a second. Thank you. Is there any public comment for consent agenda items, please? Anybody on the phone, please? 13, 14, and 15 only.
Yes, Chair. The caller is unmuted. Please speak and spell your name for the record.
Amy Nelson, Nelson. I was reading the backup on item 15, the resolution directing the levy of a special assignment on each water user situated within the confines of groundwater basin. Now, I'm confused. Is that a levy for people that own wells? What is that? I know this is public comment, but I don't know what that is. Somebody might explain that. Thank you.
I will.
Thank you. Commissioner Carbone, please.
No, I'll explain it to her after this meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else on the phone, please?
No, Chair.
Thank you. Hearing and seeing no public comment in Tonopah, Pahrump, and on the phone, I will close public comment. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote for number 13, 14, and 15, please.
Aye.
Carbone, aye.
Aye.
Jabbour's aye.
Strickland, aye.
Thank you. Passes 5-0. Number 16, please.
Item 16 for possible action, approval to adopt, amend, and adopt or reject Nye County Resolution number 2023-12, a resolution directing the levy of a special assessment on each water user situated within the confines of the Pahrump Valley groundwater basin for fiscal year 2023 through 2024. And Mr. Chair and Commissioners, the reason why we asked to have this one pulled separately is just because of a minor typo on the resolution number. It says 2023-12. It should say 2023-13. That is reflected in your backup, so there are no other issues with that, but we just wanted to note that for the record.
Thank you, Manager Sutton, for the clarification. I appreciate that. I will have to open this up for public comment. Is there anybody on the phone for number 16, please, Sam?
No, Chair.
Thank you. Hearing and seeing no public comment in Pahrump, Tonopah, and on the phone, I will close public comment. Looking for a motion, please.
Motion to adopt. And changing the 12 to a 13 for the resolution.
If you don't mind, Commissioner, can you read the whole The whole number, please, for the record.
It's a Nye County Resolution number 2023-13.
Thank you, sir.
Strickland, second.
Thank you, Commissioners. I have a motion and a second on the floor. There's no further discussion. I'd like to call for the vote, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Carbone.
Jabbour's aye.
Strickland, aye.
Number 16 passes 5-0. Number 19, please.
Item 19, update on the 2023 Nevada legislative session, including Nye County priorities, impacts to counties, and actions that counties are required to take pursuant to new legislation.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Sutton, SUTTON, Nye County Manager, Pahrump Town Manager. Happy to give you your legislative update for today. Today is the 85th day of the 82nd session of the Nevada Legislature. That means there are 35 days, only 35 days left in the 120-day session, which will end on June 6th. Since the last tally that I gave you, a couple of bills have been added. Assembly bills, there are 491. Senate bills, there are 467 for a total of 958 bills. That seems like a lot, and it is a lot, but I wanted to note that during our last legislative update provided by Vince Guthrow, the Executive Director of NACO, he noted that that is actually significantly less than last legislative session back in 2021, where we had approximately 1,200 submitted bills. There was as I noted during the last update, April 14th was a deadline by which all bills needed to pass out of committee. On April 25th, there was another deadline that where bills needed to pass out of the first house or the house in which they were introduced. That first deadline resulted in a reduction of that total of 239 bills. The second deadline only reduced the total by about 10 bills. So now we have a total of 709 bills that are under consideration and still alive. Out of the 10 bills that died from that last, yes.
Question, but that, if I'm not mistaken, they can actually put writers on some of these bills that were already killed, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So, wow. So that means it's actually more bills than what they're actually saying could happen.
Yes, and there are. I was curious as to why we were continuing to get bills, even though those significant deadlines were there. There are various deadlines that are in effect that I don't, fully claim expertise on. So
yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. All right. Out of the 10 bills that died on the April 25th deadline, there were only 2 that are noteworthy for our purposes today. One is AB 419. That was Assemblyman Hafen's bill to remove tax abatements for solar companies located in Nevada that sold all or a majority of their power to California. So that is a bill that did not make it out of the House of Introduction. Another bill is SB 268. This is something that, it seems like every legislative session, there's something that tries to take away the right of counties to regulate fireworks within their own jurisdiction. This year was no different. We had another bill. This one was only to present a ballot question to check with the voters to see if they wanted to direct the fire marshal to impose regulations that would govern fireworks statewide. But that bill did not make it out of the first house of passage. So even on a advisory question basis, that bill did not pass. So all the bills reported on last time are still alive. I wanted to follow up on a question that was posed during the last update, and that was in regards to SB 354. If you recall, that is the bill that would require a justice of the peace to pass the MPRE, which is a portion of the bar exam. There has been an amendment to that bill. So rather than taking the MPRE, the requirement is that a justice of the peace must, at the time of his or her election or 18 months after taking the oath, must pass an examination prescribed by the Nevada Supreme Court. So they're taking it away from the national MPRE test to a Nevada-specific test, and that test focuses on judicial decorum, application of the revised Nevada Code of Judicial Conduct, criminal and civil actions and proceedings over which a justice court has jurisdiction, including temporary or extended orders of protection, and financial administration of court, including without limitation the minimum accounting standards of a justice court. So Rather than requiring the MPRE, those are some of the guidelines or some of the elements that the legislature is proposing to require for justices of the peace to be completed either upon filing or 18 months after taking the oath. And that bill is still alive.
They're really pushing, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
They're really pushing.
They are. I wanted to highlight a couple of new bills. One is AB 86. This is a bill related to the proper treatment of animals. So animal abuse is already a crime under the Nevada revised statutes, but there are not a lot of specifics as to what entails or what constitutes animal abuse. So this bill would propose adding some specific things that I'll go over briefly. So it says that allows for animals to be kept in an enclosed space and requires proper ventilation, makes it a crime to deprive an animal of proper veterinary care, especially if it results in pain, suffering, or death of an animal. This was interesting. It says it is a crime to deprive an animal of proper grooming and shearing. Now, this wouldn't just be your routine dog washes and haircuts. It would be anything that would cause extreme or be reasonably necessary to prevent adverse health effects, pain, injury, or impediment of the natural movement of the animal.
A lot of animals, not to elaborate, but a lot of animals come in with, people call them hairballs, but the hair is so tightly pushed against the skin that it creates wounds and so on. And it could be very painful for an animal.
Right, and I think of the prototypical example of a sheep that just is and not shorn properly and just is weighed down by all the weight of all the fleece. Another item is AB 121, which requires operators of county jails to notify family members and friends of inmates suffering from critical medical conditions, and that would be anything that's terminal, requires life-sustaining treatment, or involves significant risk of death. Thought that was interesting because it would impose a significant burden on our current jail staff to pay attention to that and then to make sure you go about in notifying family members. Makes perfect sense to do so if somebody is dying and comes in and is incarcerated at the time that they're experiencing one of these conditions. It makes sense that they would be notified, but it would have a significant staffing and potentially fiscal impact on the county. Another one is AB 277, which is a bill which has established a separate category or a separate type of licensure for a medical facility, and that is a rural emergency hospital. And what that does is allow for a specialized category which provides access for that type of facility to have increased access to Medicaid funding. The sponsors of the bill speculate that this may have saved our Tonopah Hospital. Obviously, it's a little bit too late for that, but with that increased funding that would have been available if something like this had been in place, it's speculated that might have saved our hospital. So now we want to make sure that is in place for any future hospitals as well. So one thing I wanted to note is that there will be, although the legislative session is normally pretty fast, right now it will be moving even quicker with only 35 days left and a lot of bills to push through. There will be a lot of consolidating, a lot of merging, a lot of deal making. One thing I wanted to point out is AB 31. When I was reviewing our tracker, that's one that makes Juneteenth a legal holiday. And I looked through and I saw that bill had failed, which was surprising to me because I thought there was a lot of momentum and a lot of initiative to get that passed. But then I scrolled further down and saw that AB 141, which does exactly the same thing, is still alive and will most likely pass. So I wanted to give that just as an example of a lot of the movement that you'll see. And even though one bill dies over here, another one will continue to move forward. So because of the movement that is happening in the legislative session, I will renew my request to ask for help if any of you are aware of any bills. These are just a lot of bills to watch, and so if you get any rumors or hear anything, please pass that on to me or to Assistant County Manager Dellinger, and we will make sure that we get on top of it. And with that ends my report. And if you have any questions, I'd be welcome to take them.
Chair?
Yes, Commissioner.
Yeah, there is several bills out there that create a lot of issues. There's one that's AB 303, which it's kind of weird, but it says it's a bill to allow people that can't afford, based on their status in regards to financial, not to pay for towing of their vehicles if need be. They haven't figured out how to make that work yet, but it's one of those bills that are out there. There's another, I think the last time you were up, I asked if you would coordinate with the sheriff's department and talk about some of the bills that are affecting the sheriff, law enforcement. Has Eric Murphy contacted you at all? Okay.
No, Commissioner, not that I remember.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioners Boskovich or Cox, do you have anything for Manager Sutton?
Nothing, Chair.
No.
Thank you. Commissioner Strickland?
I do. Manager, refresh my memory, SB 21, the pop cap, did that die? Population cap?
No, I believe that one is, I believe that one's still alive, but I'll verify that one.
I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
And Commissioner Carbone, did you have a specific bill in mind for the law enforcement ones, or just in general?
I'll get you well, there's several of them that specifically, affect how law enforcement reacts with the public.
Okay, thank you. And that's all I had, and this is a standing agenda item.
Sorry, Chair, apologies. Looking at my back
It's okay,
note.
Commissioner. Go ahead.
Manager,
Go ahead.
thank you. SJR4, the Yucca Mountain, I wrote a note. That was something about us being able to store solar waste. That did die, correct?
I believe that one did die. I'll confirm that, though, for you.
Thank you. And apologies. Thank you.
It's okay, Commissioner. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And this is a standing item, so if there are any other elected officials that wanted to report or had concerns about their bills, now's the time as well.
Well, then let me ask if there's anybody on the phone, any managers only on the phone to ask any questions in regards to the Manager Sutton's legislative update.
No, Chair.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to take 10. Let's take a comfort break. We'll be back at 12:08. 12:08. All right, 12:09. Commissioner, you ready, sir? Okay. I know you're trying to prolong things. No, we don't.
You're right.
Number 21, please.
Item 21 for possible action, discussion and deliberation to 1, approve, amend and approve, or reject the lease agreement between Central Nevada Racing Association and Nye County for the purpose of leasing for a portion of property located at the Tonopah Airport for the purpose of vehicular races. 2, execute the lease agreement. And 3, deposit funds into Fund 10209 Airport.
Thank you. Assistant County Manager, did you want to lead us off?
Yes, thank you, Mr.
Okay,
Chair. So this lease is up for, Nye County has been in, I think, a lease agreement since the early 80s for the racetrack. And this is a third renewal that we are requesting at this time. It's on a portion of the airport property.
Okay. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Shannon Stringer. I am here on behalf of Central Nevada Racing Association. We are asking the board to renew the lease agreement between us and Nye County. Central Nevada Racing Association operates under the name Tonopah Speedway and is now the sole dirt track in Nye County. We host racers from 6 years old to nearly 80 in 7 different classes. This upcoming year, we have secured our IMCA license, and combining that along with our new promoter, we expect to have one of our biggest, most successful seasons in many years. Tonopah Speedway is 100% run by volunteers, and all income goes back into the races and track in the form of maintenance, racer payouts, and trophies. Every season, we have more and more racers traveling to Tonopah, bringing their families and supporting our local restaurants and hotels. The Tonopah Speedway was built in the 1980s and is an important part of our town's history. My husband and his family have raced here since it opened, and my children are third-generation racers. Tonopah Speedway is a huge asset in that we can provide fun, family-friendly entertainment. We would greatly appreciate the opportunity for that to continue.
Thank you, Ms. Stringer. Any questions from the commission for the presenter?
I don't really have a question. I just have a comment that it's very important to have this up there. So we got to help them.
Well, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Cox?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you.
Ditto,
Commissioner Strickland?
Boskovich.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Commissioner
thank you,
Carbone.
Chair. So how many times a month or year do you do the actual racing?
We changed our schedule.
Say your name and spell it for the record.
James Thibodeau, Thibodeaux.
Thank you.
I'm the president of the association, and we're trying to. We've worked with other rural tracks to schedule 2-day weekends, so and not to conflict with other tracks, so that we can maximize how less we travel, because cost of fuel is kind of killing us all in traveling around. So we're racing once a month from May till September. So that's
good for your time.
Long question, or long answer.
Appreciate it. No, it's good to do it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, let me open this up for public comment, please. Is there any public comment in Pahrump? Go ahead, Miss, in Pahrump. State and spell your last name, please.
Joyce Barishman, Barishman. I just have a question. I know that they're paying basically $12 a year to the county for this. Is that enough money? I mean, this has been going on since 1982, and now they want to increase it for many more years to come. $12 a year? They charge $50 for each racer a day, and they race for 2 days, so that's $100. And then they have I checked on this today, personally. They have pit fees if you want to go in the pit for $20 for members and $25 for non-members. So I know they're not making a profit. I know they have a high overhead. They have to pay for all these taxes. But yet for the county to allow a lease for $12 a year, that's ridiculous. I'm sorry. They could raise their prices if they had to. I know that it's hard for people today, but perhaps they could make an insurance fee of $15 per racer or something like that. But really, you really have to visit this, and to allow this for another, till 2038 at $12 a year? Come on, people. This is 2023. Please look at this and consider that. I know it's going to bring money to the area, but yet that's not enough money. We're a county here. We need to collect funds too. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody on the phone, please, Sam?
Yes, Chair. The caller is unmuted. Please speak and spell your name for the record.
Amy Nelson, Nelson. I am 100% for this item. I know James and my niece Nicole are very active with this sport and with their children. This sport brings in other people to furnish room taxes and gasoline and food, and they attract a lot of business for the county. And this profit that she's talking about, or this lease money, that's nothing compared to what they bring in to the entire county. And they go to a lot of races too. Their expenses are pretty expensive. They have to pay for gasoline. They have to pay for upkeep on the cars. They have to pay for upkeep on the track. So it's a fair price. And I think it's something that the county should do for all of us, not just Tonopah. This is for the entire county. And I support this item 100%. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nelson. Is there anybody else on the phone, please, Sam?
No, Chair.
Hearing and seeing no public comment on the phone, Tonopah and Pahrump, I will close public comment.
Chair.
Yes,
Chair?
Commissioner.
Chair?
I have two commissioners. Go ahead, Commissioner Strickland.
I don't want to make a motion. May I not make a motion? Because I'm sure that Frank's prepared to do that.
Yes, but you wanted to
I
speak
would like
before. Thank you. Go ahead.
motion,
You
please.
have the floor.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to take this opportunity to encourage a like and kind organization to do the same at the fairgrounds. We have set aside an area for an oval track at the fairgrounds that is a 40-acre piece that we would love to have someone come along and build a track, maintain a track, have an agreement with the county on just the same and like thing at the fairgrounds. And so I just want to put it out there just in case all those parties that love to do this could hear us. Thank you for the opportunity, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Strickland. Appreciate that.
Chair, make a motion. Make a motion to approve the lease agreement between Central Nevada Racing Association in Nye County and to execute the lease agreement and deposit the funds into the 10209 Airport Fund.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Commissioners. I have a motion and a second on the floor. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote, please.
Carbone, aye.
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 Jabbour's aye. Number 21 passes 5-0. Congratulations.
Thank you
Be
very
safe
much.
out there and have as much fun as you can.
Thank you.
And bring Tonopah lots of tourism. Number 25, please, Manager.
Item 25 for possible action, discussion and deliberation to approve a memorandum of understanding with the Bureau of Land Management, establishing Nye County participating as a cooperating agency in the analysis of the Trans Canyon LLC power line from Utah to Robinson Summit Substation in White Pine County.
Do we have our director or assistant Megan on the phone?
I believe Lorinda was going to call in.
Okay.
Jump to the next one.
Well,
either that way I can go with it.
Good afternoon. Commissioners,
there we go.
this is Lorinda Whitman. I'm here. If you have any questions.
Go ahead, Director Rickman.
If you'll remember, we brought a request to you in the past asking you if we could apply for or ask for cooperating agency status on this item. I realize it's out of Utah, but they purposely called us and asked us to do this because they have an alternative route that has been proposed that will affect our wildlife refuge over by Sunnyside. And as a side note, you missed that community when you were speaking earlier. Chairman Jabbour, you do have another community in your district, and that's Sunnyside. Just south of that is where they're proposing to put this alternative line through. Not only will it affect Nye County and the wildlife refuge, but also the activities of the military. So Utah BLM called and asked if we would please consider this, and the district attorney wanted to see the MOU when it came back. And he has approved it.
Okay. Are there any questions for Director Wickman?
No, but make a motion when you're ready, sir.
Thank you. Just let me hear from the other commissioners. Are there any questions for Commissioner Wickman?
Not here.
No. Okay. Thank you.
Here.
We'll have to open. Yes, Commissioner Strickland, go ahead.
Sorry for the inconvenience of me not being present. Director Wickman, Does this have anything to do with Grid Alliance in any way? Is this just a subsidy or an LLC of that?
It's the project is a tie line that comes out of Utah and goes up to the Robinson Mine up in White Pine County. So no, it doesn't have anything to do with Grid Alliance or the Green Link West, but it will tie in eventually to the Green Link North.
That makes sense. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Director, let me open this up for public comment. Hold the line, please.
Okay.
Is there any public comment on the phone, please, Sam?
No, Chair.
Okay. And any public comment in Pahrump? I can't see.
No, Chair.
Thank you. I see now. Hearing and seeing no public comment in Pahrump, Tonopah on the phone, I will close public comment, and I'm looking for a motion.
Chair,
please.
I make a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement with the Bureau of Land Management in Nye County.
Second.
Item 25.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Cox. So I have a motion and a second on the floor. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote, please.
Aye.
Carbone, aye.
Jabbour's aye.
Strickland's aye.
Thank you. Number 25 passes 5-0. Director, if you don't mind, please stay on the line.
I will.
Number 27, please.
Item 27 for possible action, discussion and deliberation to consider North American Silver Corporation's affidavit and petition for sale that would allow North American Silver Corporation to purchase a Nye County-owned patented mining claim known as the Constitution Mining Claim, Mineral Survey Number 1424 in the Philadelphia Mining District, Assessor's Parcel Number 000-25870.
And of course, let me jump in here. Let me apologize to our neighbors and our other community of Sunnyside. I knew I missed one. Go ahead, Director.
This is a public petitioner. I believe you have someone there representing them, this item. I am here to offer you background if you would like it.
Thank you, Director. I don't see anybody here in Tonopah.
On the phone?
I don't know if they're on the phone, and they may be in Pahrump. I don't know that for sure. That's why I asked if you could stay on the line.
Okay.
Just in case. Sam, do we have the petitioner? Okay.
Chair, I do have a hand raised on the phone. I will go ahead and unmute them. The caller is unmuted. Please speak and spell your name for the record.
I'm here for public comment.
Okay.
Thank you.
If the petitioner is on the line, they will need to press *9 to raise their hand. There are no hands raised, Chair.
Okay. Thank you, Sam. Appreciate that. And appreciate everybody's patience. Director Wickman, could you give us a little more information on this, or Assistant County Manager? Yeah. Lorinda, okay.
Yes, sir. We spent quite a bit of time doing our due diligence on this particular patent. It took some time to ferret out what was going on because, quite frankly, Nye County didn't know that they owned that piece of property. It has, until recently, it never had an APN number. But we did have a public petitioner who was wanting it sold to get it on the tax rolls and to further their ventures up there in Belmont. I took the time to speak with some of the residents that live closest to that area and have not had anyone offer any objection to this. It is attached to, if I understand, it is very close to other patents that they already own. I haven't seen any activity up there in several years, but like I said, nobody knew that we owned it in doing the historical, in all of the historical research that I did on this, it had a strange order that was put out in the 1930s, late 1930s, directing the sheriff to take the parcel and all other assets of the company for back taxes, which they did. However, it took me a while to figure out that who they transferred it to, who the sheriff transferred it to, was actually our treasurer at that time, back in the late 1830s or the 1930s, and it was a very interesting project. The parcel is viable for putting it back on the tax rolls and by selling it. I have one remaining question, which could probably be answered by the assistant county manager or possibly the DA's office, but I am not sure if you vote to approve this, I am not sure if the process is to sell it outright to the petitioner or if it has to go to auction. So that's one question that would have to be answered.
I can help with that if you'd like me to.
I'd love it.
I would suggest doing a memorandum of understanding like we're doing with other parcels, have it between the two parties, have it appraised, and then you've established value and you can sell it, just like we're doing with the other two potentials, Director.
Okay, I'm sorry, I kind of got lost in that. The other two potential?
Well, we have a Floyd property we're working on and a Murphy property we're working on that you'll find in the backup from, I believe, last meeting. And basically, we just did a memorandum of understanding to complete a purchase and both parties sign, and then we can go forward with the appraisal. And of course, this time I would suggest that the buying party does the appraisal, but that'd be up to the DA to determine. But the assistant manager's got this down pat, just so you know, Director.
Yes, I do.
Yes,
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The patented mining claims fall under a different NRS for sale, so we do not have to follow procedures that we typically do for real property that the county owns, and this can be sold to the petitioner. If we want to proceed with this item, I would recommend we would need to determine, I don't know if that would be through the treasurer's office because of the history of this parcel. I don't know if we would ever be able to determine any prior taxes that might have been written off, but we would need to determine that cost of the value of it.
Okay, I apologize. I didn't realize, of course, that we have so many NRSs, but we've got some sharp heads in the room. My question here then is determining price. What's fair and equitable? How is that determined if we don't have to do an appraisal?
Actually,
I'm not sure I can answer that on an actual claim.
If I could interject here, what I'm looking for or what the petitioner is looking for is just the board's approval to sell this. And that will set us on a path of finding out what we have to do that. I think this will be like one of the first ones in a decade that has been sold. But as the assistant manager said, there has been no history of any taxes or any back taxes on this. It has never been issued a APN number until we started looking into it. So if this is something you would like to do, if you'd like to sell that parcel, then I would like to pursue the due diligence with the DA's office and find out what our procedures are going to have to be, and then with the assistant county manager on how we establish the value.
So Director,
very stated. Let me just add this. Very frankly stated, I did not want to continue on that path, which is very time consuming, unless you did have a desire to put it back on the tax rolls by selling it to an interested party.
But but your previous statement, Director, brings me to, if we consider to sell, then you will research the proper procedures. At that point, is that going to be proper procedures for North American Silver Corporation, or the procedure to go public, to sell this publicly?
Well, I will follow up with the petitioner, and I will get the answers that we need. And then if the public petitioner is still interested, we'll follow the procedures as they're outlined by the DA.
Hearing all that, Chair, is there any other information that you could give us, Assistant County Manager?
I don't have anything at this time.
Okay, so on understanding what I just heard from the director is that we really, and I don't know, I'm gonna have to get some guidance from the DA, because this says for possible action. Can we just give direction to the director to work on this item and come back with, a plan for what we really want to do?
The board can always give
May I also?
I'm waiting for the DA.
I'm sorry. Has the floor.
Go ahead, DA.
Thank you, and I apologize. Marla Slotek on behalf of the DA's office. The board can always give direction to staff or set forth direction. However, the catch here is the item 27 as written specifically is discussion and deliberation. So you can take action regarding this petition, even though it says the agenda item, that would allow North American Silver to purchase. So your motion doesn't say sell it to them, but the petition itself is specific that under the NRS 517 that you would have a motion that orders that the Nye County Treasurer sell this property. And then you can always direct and come back with the proper mechanism or additional agenda items that may be needed. So does that answer it? Or take no action?
I believe that answered my question.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Lorinda, did you have something? Lorinda?
No, I
Director?
just wanted to, yes, I'm here. I just wanted to interject that the petitioner has followed NRS properly. And I had to put it on the agenda. But like I said, without direction from the board, I did not want to tie up everybody else's time, the DA and the assistant county manager and anybody, the treasurer's office, if you chose not to put it back on the tax rolls by selling it. So the petitioner has followed the proper procedures and has put it on the agenda like directed in the NRS. However, quite frankly, we have our hands full, and I didn't want to pursue more information before I put it on the agenda because it is time sensitive once they ask for that petition.
Excuse me, Chair.
Yes, this is
Michelle Nelson.
Can you identify your place? Thank you, Deputy DA. Go ahead.
Thank you. If I may, since I've been working with Director Wickman on this project as well as the Assistant County Manager, Ms. Lotek was correct with respect to NRS 517-460. However, as I look at the backup for item number 27, I see the petition has blanks in it, which would be required to be filled in order for us to continue with the procedures to move forward with this. So as Director Wickman has asked is whether or not the board would be even inclined to consider this, but as the backup has blanks, it would not be able to move forward in compliance with 517-460 of the NRS.
Thank you, Deputy DA. And are you referring to page 2, number 4, specifically?
I am.
Or is there
Yes,
more?
yes, Chair.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Chair. And 517-460 is specific that the amount of the taxes, costs, and penalties are stated in the petition. And in this case, it is not.
And I didn't know.
This is Director Wickman again. In pursuing that and trying to find those answers with the Treasurer's Office, that particular patent, that parcel has never been on the tax rolls. So there is no way to establish a history of back taxes or failed taxes. It's almost as if we've created a brand new one, even though we've owned it since 1930s. It's brand new as far as the tax rolls are concerned.
Okay, thank you, Director. Thank you, Deputy DAs. Commissioners, do you have anything else?
Yeah, through the chair.
Yes, Commissioner Carbone.
Director, if we decided to say we weren't going to take any action on this, that would kind of say we don't want to consider it? Is that what you would have in your mind?
That's what I would think.
I don't know if I got that.
If I can I help a little bit? I know I'm overstepping my bounds, but
no, go right ahead,
okay.
Director.
May I have direction from the board to pursue this with the intent of selling it? And then I'm going to have to work this out with the DA's office. I don't know how to do this on a brand new. Treasurer's office is telling me there is nothing owed against that property. So I don't know how they are to answer that question. But I'll pursue it with staff. And obviously it would have to come back to you for final approval.
Thank you, Director.
So, Chair.
So I think after hearing all of this, I'm going to entertain a motion to consider.
Correct.
To consider this. And then that allows you the direction to go forward and get us more information, and the blanks will be filled in, hopefully.
Correct.
Et cetera.
So thank you for that, Chair. So when we get ready to make a motion, I think we opened it. We need a public comment.
Okay, let me open this up for public comment before I entertain the motion. Is there anybody on the phone, please, Sam?
Yes, Chair. The caller is unmuted. Please speak and spell your name for the record.
Neil Jones, Jones. I ask that this statement be included as part of the minutes of this meeting. I ask the county commissioners to deny this request to sell the Constitution mining claim due to the misleading and inaccurate information contained within the agenda item. The agenda item references a mining claim in the Philadelphia Mining District and state that this is associated with assessor's parcel number 000-25870. The Nevada Division of Minerals and the Nevada Bureau of Mines and Geology locate this mining claim in the Belmont Mining District. The agenda item does not mention that this claim is within the area of the county known as Belmont. The county fails to provide any documentation related to this agenda item to show exactly where the archaic Philadelphia Mining District is or where this mining claim is located. Belmont is listed in the National Registry of Historic Places, and the county is being asked to sell a mining claim to allow mining to occur in this historic area. A check of the county assessor's website for information related to the APN given in the agenda item produces 0 results. It does not exist. A check of the county recorder's website for information related to the APN given in the agenda item produces 0 results. A search for the mineral survey produces 0 results. State law requires this information to be shown in the official records of the county. There's no mention in the agenda item that this mining claim must be sold to the highest bidder at auction, nor the amount of tax, penalties, or costs that are associated with the claim or parcel. The public has not been provided with the necessary information to be able to clearly be informed regarding this agenda item. The public has been misled by the false and inaccurate information that is presented in the agenda item. The BOCC has been misled and is being asked to consider selling a mining claim within a historic district based upon false and misleading information. The BOCC is being asked to take this action on this agenda item, but is not provided with the proper and true information it needs to make this decision. The BOCC is required by county code to consult the Belmont Advisory Board on items related to Belmont that will be on the BOCC's agenda, so that the Belmont Board can perform their duties and be the liaison between the BOCC and the property owners and residents of Belmont. This has not occurred. For these reasons, I ask the BOCC to deny this request. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else on the phone, please, Sam?
No, Chair.
Okay. Let me close public comment before I move on to her. Hearing and seeing no public comment in Tonopah, Pahrump, and on the phone, we'll close public comment at this time. Did you have anything else, Assistant County Manager?
I don't, thank you.
Okay.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion. I know that we have a lot of conversation here, and I understand what the gentleman just read. But again, the motion is only going to be to consider to sell this property. Looking for a second.
Okay. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
I would like to speak on the motion when you're ready.
Okay, there is, so I do have further discussion from the commission. Go ahead, Commissioner Cox, you have the floor.
Okay, I think the gentleman that just spoke, Mr. Neil Jones, made a lot of sense, and at least what he has said would be worth checking into. And I do like to see these items all come up in front of the town boards in their particular areas. So I think we should extend the common courtesy to the Belmont Board and see what they have to say or what kind of investigation they have done. So I don't know if this is going to affect his motion or not, due to the fact that he's stated this is basically to check into it, I guess. Other than that, I think this needs to be way more investigated before we make any decision to pass it off to anybody else outside of working with the Belmont Town Board. Seems to be a lot of questions here that aren't answered. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. So in the past, we have had agendized items, and one of the first questions we ask is, has this been before the elected town board or an advisory board, respectively? In this case, I will ask Director Wickman, who stated that she's worked diligently on this. Do you know, Director Wickman, if this was brought before the Belmont Advisory Board and they failed to inform us and bring this before us as well?
Okay. As I stated earlier, I spoke with several of the residents there, and one of those residents happens to be the chairman of the Belmont Town Board. It has not, to my knowledge, been placed on the Belmont Town Board's agenda for them to consider.
Right.
But also, I did speak with those that would be neighbors to that area. And even though this is the Belmont Mining District, the historic documents show this as the Philadelphia, or the which one was it? I have a bunch of them. The Philadelphia Mining District is what it was historically named. So its historic names are everything that's in the backup. You have everything that I have on this. As I said before, the petitioner is following the directions of the NRS. So he wouldn't have had any direction to take this to the town board. In part of, should this pass, and you ask me to pursue this, I will make sure that it does go before the Belmont Town Board.
Okay, thank you,
Or
Director.
put it this way, the Area Advisory Board, since we can't use the name town anymore,
Yes.
for Mr. Jones's.
That's, well, not just for one individual. It's true that we refer to it as the Belmont Advisory Board.
We do.
Commissioner Carbone? Thank you.
Again, we're more than likely, and I'm hoping to see, before this, any transactions happen, it'll be in front of this board again, with all the data that we just talked about, going in front of the boards, going in front of the advisory committees, and so on and so forth. I mean, I know we're going to see it back to kind of answer Commissioner Cox's question. So.
Well,
Guaranteed.
I would also like to see the person that's doing this or representing this other than Director Wickman to appear in front of us. It's a pretty important issue, and it should be pretty important to, or at least important enough to, the representative to be here and speak to us about this so that the questions can be answered by not only to us, but also to the people in the audience that take the time to come. So,
yes, Commissioner Cox, I agree with you. You're absolutely right, but please keep in mind, I'm not being Director Wickman's attorney, but I asked her to stay on the line. She was not the presenter, and she was willing to stay on as she did work on this and had the most information for us. And I agree with you. The petitioner should have been either on the phone or before us.
So I would like to see this delayed until he has the courtesy to show up. Thank you. He or she, whichever.
Thank you.
Chairman?
Is that
here.
Deputy DA? Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Strickland, go ahead.
Yeah, I will support this item only because we are considering it. So then that gives direction to pursue it because there is not enough information. There's not a parcel map, and it's because we lack the lack of that information that we've had such a long discussion in the first place. So I look forward to all of those questions being answered when this is re-agendized, since it's only considering at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Very well put. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no further discussion, I do have a motion and a second on the floor. I will call for the vote, please.
Carbone, aye.
Strickland,
Jabbour, aye.
Boskovich, aye.
I'm not sure quite where this stands right now, so I'm going to vote nay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. So this passes 4 yes, 1 no. Number 27. Number 26, please.
Item 26, presentation by Nye County Parks and Recreation Advisory Board members Tim Bohannon and Holly Merritt to address future needs of the Carver's Arena and Recreation Center, proposed in multiple phases over several years.
Okay, I don't believe that Chair Holly Merritt, the advisory board, is present. Her plan was to drive here. She's a teacher and to give the presentation, but Tim Bohannon is in Pahrump and was willing to be the presenter. So go ahead, Mr. Bohannon.
Thank you, Commissioner Jabbour. Thanks, Chair. Tim Bohannon, BOHA, NNON. We do have Holly on the line. If she's allowed to do the star 9, she can get on and also present with us. Holly, I am the secretary of the Nye County Parks and Recreation. Holly is the chair, and again, that's a star 9 for Holly. I'll pause to see if she's able to get on. Hey. Fantastic. Take it away, Holly.
Oh, I'm on. Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Holly Merritt, and I am the chair of the Nye County Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. I'm here with other members of the advisory board and some community members, also some stakeholders. We're here at the Simpson Center in Round Mountain. And I want to introduce you to a part of Nye County that you may not know exists, and that is the fairgrounds in Smoky Valley. This is located in Carvers, north of the Hadley subdivision, more commonly known as Round Mountain. Today, we're going to show you the present condition of the facility and grounds, as well as the proposed vision for this multi-use property. Just a little bit about our area. As you may already know, about 2,500 people live in and around Smoky Valley. Aside from mining, the local industry includes ranching and agriculture, so it's no surprise that the recreational hobbies of these area residents are centered around outdoor activities involving horses and livestock, firearms, and ATVs. It's one of the reasons that we all choose to live here. Many of the recreational hobbies in rural America are done at local county fairgrounds, as is the case in Pahrump, Beatty, and Tonopah. But sadly, we have a county fairgrounds that is in desperate need of repair and reconstruction to provide a safe and secure facility for its users. Somehow the Carvers Arena and recreation area fell off the county's radar. For the past decade or more, members of the community have taken responsibility for the property, its maintenance, and facilities, and have done what they could with their own money and fundraising efforts. This even includes Valley residents paying the monthly power bill to date, like currently. It's time for Nye County to bring this property back to life so it can provide services and revenue to the many groups of stakeholders in this area. We want to show you on the slideshow. Tim, are you able to?
We do not have the slides open. They have the backup. So we'll walk through the page numbers. So if you can do the page number in the top right, that would be helpful for the team.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. So we're going to start with the current conditions. If you could turn to page 6. On this page are the property specs. This property is known as the Carvers Arena and Recreational Area. It is comprised of nearly 42 acres. It sits adjacent to Highway 376 in Carvers. Currently, this property houses a main arena with attached livestock pens, a covered stall area, a building that houses a working tractor, a motocross area, a mud bog pit with bleachers, and a trap range with 1 trap house. Page 7. On page 7, you can kind of see that I have marked the areas where all of these things are located on the little map of the whole property. The arrow in the trap range area shows you the direction in which the trap house sits and the area in which they mostly shoot trap, but you can see that it overlaps into the livestock area a little bit, so that's definitely a concern for us. But it's a large enough property to house a lot of activities. Page 8. Page 8 shows a little bit of the motocross area. There is desperate need of fencing around the whole property for security purposes and safety purposes. But there really isn't an organized area here, and it's just some jumps. And just talking with some of the community members, the kids don't use them because they're not super safe. I'm not really sure how, but it has to do with the material, the angle of the jumps, and things like that. So we definitely would want to improve that area. Page 9. This is the trap range. We do have a little local trap club that uses the trap range for practice, but you can see it only has 1 trap house. There's not a lot of practicing that can be done in trap house. They travel to Eureka frequently, monthly, and when the weather is good, to participate in their trap events. trap shooting events. But this trap house is in excellent working condition. There is I guess he's the president of the club. He takes care of the trap house and all of the equipment and that kind of stuff. It's in good shape. Page 10. Page 10 is the mud bogs area. The mud bogs area is just in the corner of the property. It has not been used for a very long time, but it is dug out there. There are bleachers there. We do have a lot of four-wheel drive enthusiasts here, so I think that would definitely be a main attraction there. Page 11. Page 11 is the equine and rodeo arena. The equine and rodeo arena is, it needs a lot of help in that the ground needs a lot of work. I don't know if you know a lot about the ground for livestock and horses, but it has to be made of certain material, and it cannot have rocks and things like that. And this ground has just been just the weather and not being maintained. It's not very safe anymore for horses. So also you can see by the girl in the picture there, the railing around the arena has sort of just been incorporated into the ground, I guess, when things do in the desert. And you can see it's not very tall. It's only a little bit past her waist. She's 5'5". So that needs to be taller in order to be safe for livestock, horses, and their riders. The lights are shot out by vandals. The crow's nest has just been destroyed by vandals. And I'll get more into the surrounding area starting on page 12. Page 12 shows the bucking chutes area. The bucking chutes are salvageable, but the areas around them are not. People just used what they could to repair things, build things, and use things the way they can, but they really need to be updated and just made of safer material. Page 13. Same with the livestock holding and alleyways. Again, people just use what they can, use what they have, and get the job done. Page 14. This is the covered pens and wash rack area. The covered pens, it's a nice red iron building that is, I mean, fairly newish, you know, in the last decade or more. But and the panels under there are in pretty decent shape. I think some of them are bent up, but it's mostly salvageable. Page 15. This shows the tractor barn. This barn houses the tractor. It has electricity to it, but no water to it. So it's really just a shop inside of there. The tractor is in excellent working condition, as is the drag to condition the ground in the arena. So it's safe in there, locked away. Page 16, the restrooms. The restrooms are a little separate building off to the side, and just time and vandals have destroyed the restrooms. There's water leaking. The hot water heater is gone. They're basically not usable at all, the restrooms. Originally, there was 2 toilets and 2 showers, like 2 separate areas. All right, and that is a breakdown of the current conditions of the facility. And now Tim is going to talk about the phases of redevelopment and the budget.
Fantastic. Thanks, Holly. So as you can hear, we have 4 main areas that we have, including the mud bog, motocross, trap shooting, and the rodeo. The other theme you probably heard as we were going through is safety, infrastructure, and ongoing maintenance. Those are the key aspects that we're bringing to you today. On page 22, you can see the executive summary and project background. Holly's already done a pretty good job carrying that and discussing the rodeo arena area, the trap shooting, etc. What I'd like to take us to is page 25, which is, and Holly, you may want to mute. I think that's yours, given the feedback. Page 25 is the proposed budget. Now, if you look at this, it's a very lengthy list. Let me break it down for us. At the very first, we've already done a quasi-site needs assessment, if you will, We'd like to see a little bit more professional hat on that, involving county staff to be able to do that. I think that would be appropriate, and they could give a good assessment of what they see and what they can do and what needs to be farmed out. Now, we put a general estimate for general maintenance that we think would be useful, $40,000 for that. That's a guess, so we're taking a guess on that. But we do have a little bit of backup on the guess, and that's the following page. I'll refer you to that after this presentation. When we look at the general site improvements, there are some basic things that need to be done. Dirt work, temporary arena relocation to make sure that we can have safety in the trap shooting. Those are areas that are basic maintenance, basic security, if you will, and safety. The lights that Holly mentioned, we have light situations there. Some have been shot out, some of them exist, and there's a low-hanging wire that needs to be dealt with. So there's things that need to be done, basic needs. And that's how we're looking at it. We also note a rock doctor arena services and other things in that general site improvements. That's a guesstimate of $25,000. We think that assessment up above the site needs assessment would be able to tune in how much specifically for each item that would be. I may have put a little bit of cushion in there as I tried to do, and I may be south of what the number is. I don't know until we have a good site assessment to deal with that. We also put some equipment purchases. You heard that the tractor's in pretty decent shape. The water truck is not. It's on the grounds. It's pretty much stripped for all the parts, but it's not useful. Project improvements, noting structures like the tractor shed, the bathroom, which is in unusable condition. Just can't use it. Rodeo arena, which the crow's nest is not it's not usable. The rodeo arena needs help, and that's a project amount over time of a guesstimate of $235,000. Project improvement for trap shooting, and we left a little bit in for mud bog. The mud bog area does have the stream. When we were up, Judith and I, when we were up last month, it did have the stream flowing, and no, I did not try to take my vehicle across. If those of you know what I drive, you'll understand why. Although I do a lot of off-roading in it anyway. But if you have a nice pickup truck, you'd have no problem. Bottom line is there's some needs that we have here. We presented a budget to you for consideration. This has also been sent over to William Allen, so he has that and he can work with that information accordingly. We hope that the maintenance items can get handled in this year's budget coming up on the 16th. If not, we understand, but it's a site property that does need attention, and it is part of the county, and it is part of the citizens that are up there. They like to use that facility quite often. I've been there several times, and it's workable. It's something that we can update and maintain, and we have something that can be useful for the people that are up there. Holly, I'll let you add a little bit more to that if you can. I'm sure you have information, and then if I understand correctly, when we get to public comment, there are some public comment letters that you have to read. Either Chair Jabbour, we could do that now, or we could do that during public comment. It's your call.
Okay, Mr. Bohannon, there will be no public comment on this presentation. However, I will ask Holly to read her letters from the advisory board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Tim. Oh, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, go ahead, Holly.
Okay, great. Hi. So here with me, I have people who will comment in the public comment section, if that's okay. Not of this agenda item, but it's a general public comment. Is that okay? And then I have letters.
Well, because
and I also
yes, go ahead and read your letters, please, Holly. But because it's an agendized item, I really can't open it up at public comment.
Through the chair. Holly, if they are members of the advisory board, they can comment during this portion.
Okay. Yes, we have members of the advisory board here. This is Haley Hasty, Vice Chair.
Hello, thank
Go
you
ahead,
for letting
Haley.
me speak. Thank you, Mr. Jabbour, or Chair Jabbour. So yes, my name is Haley Hasty. I've been in the Smoky Valley for almost 10 years. When we first moved out here, there were quite a few events taking place at the arena, although it still needed work back then. And now it's just gotten to the point, as Holly mentioned, where it's not very user-friendly, not usable for what we'd like to do. Personally, I barrel race and my husband team ropes. And I just think that by revitalizing the arena, or not even just the arena, but the whole property as a multi-use facility, that it would give an opportunity for some revenue generation for our valley and help support our local businesses too. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hasty. Any other advisory board members there?
Yeah, my name is Alicia Osterhout. I'm a board member.
Go ahead, Alicia. Thank you.
Okay. I just wanted to give you guys just a little insight of why I became a board member. Haley reached out to me. I'm a huge participant in rodeo. My two girls participate in rodeo, and part of this facility helps teach them how to compete. And last year in 2022, my daughter actually won state for the state of Nevada. And so by us using this facility is really important to us because it helped my child to develop. And also, I am been part of this community for a very long time. And when I was younger, we used to have huge events down there where people all over the state of Nevada would come and participate in. And after over the few years, we've actually seen it deteriorate, and we would really like to just put some more time into it so the kids of the future of our environment here can have the same opportunity as my child did. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Alicia. Appreciate that. I think we have one more.
David Harris is in Pahrump, and I don't know if he's in attendance today.
Thank you. Sam, could we see if David is on the phone, please?
Yes, Chair. Mr. Harris, if you're on the line, please press *9 to raise your hand. There are no hands raised, Chair.
Okay. Thank you, Sam. I will remind everybody that this board, the majority of this board, we helped resurrect and put this advisory board together the past year. I want to say it's been over a year, maybe a year and a half now, and we helped appoint these people that have passion for the area, that live there. They're community leaders. They have great interest in the area. So I just wanted to remind everybody that we're the ones who put this together. And now they're coming before us and presenting. And we'll see what we can do. I believe, Holly, you as the chair, if you want to summarize. And
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So, yes, in conclusion, the Carver's Arena and recreational area is in dire need of an investment of resources.
The current conditions at the Carver's Arena and Recreation Area do not support many of the revenue-generating events that typically use fairgrounds in Nye County, nor are they safe enough to hold events. This board, along with the residents of Smoky Valley, is willing to work with the county over the next couple of years to rebuild this asset in the north. It would be a mistake to overlook this opportunity to invest in the northern communities. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. So I want to thank Holly, Haley, Alicia, Tim, and David, who was not able to make it, and he's on the Nye County Parks and Recreation Advisory Board out of Pahrump, but comes up to the north to help in any way that he can. So I want to thank all of you for your diligence and your presentation. Commissioners, do we have any questions for the chair or for Mr. Bohannon?
I'd just like to thank him for everything he's done. I think he's committed a miracle here compared to what we've had in the past. I never heard from the Parks and Recreation Board in the past for Nye County. And I'm glad to see this moving forward, and I'm willing to support anything that they need to have done because I think you're on the right track. And yes, they could use some tax revenue and anything they can get from having these events. It's really, really good that the children have a place to go. And, you know, right now, we as a board are actually shaping their future. So keep up the good work, and if you need something, bring it to us. Thank you. And to their town boards.
Thank you, Commissioner Cox. I know that you didn't have a pun intended because track is one of their proposals. And they are on the right track.
Okay.
Thank
yes,
you.
That too.
Thank you. Commissioner Boskovich?
I have nothing. Great presentation, though.
Thank you. Commissioner Strickland?
Oh, just go ahead and open that door. This is my bailiwick. I'm very proud of the Nye County Parks and Recreation Board bringing this together. I'm also proud of them for working with the Pahrump Arena Advisory Committee so that they could get excess equipment out of that arena here in Pahrump, moved to Carver's, so that could be used for their future. And yes, we need to find the funds to make this happen. Currently, you probably all know, sitting as a board, the public may not, but the Pahrump Arena Advisory Committee is funded, that arena is funded by tourism. The fairgrounds is funded by tourism, along with other things. And so this is an ongoing expense. We need to first off start by paying the power bill, really. We need to pay the power bill. And then we need to take it from there, and hopefully the rest of the commissioners can support moving some money in the direction as stated. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Carbone?
Again, I'd like to thank the folks who come up to the presentation. It's great to see that they're got some initiative to move forward and onto something. But again, appreciate all the work that they're doing. Would be nice if we could, once we get done with our budget analysis, we can figure out if there's anything there, or if there's any other opportunities we can come across with that may help this situation.
Thank you. Commissioners, could you tell me, is Miss Elliott still in chambers?
She is.
Thank you. Miss Elliott, I have a question, please. For you to consider.
Yes, sir.
And I'm not putting you on the spot, but we're trying to be creative here and as helpful as possible because they are stakeholders. They are part of the county. They are our neighbors. They are Nye County. Would they be eligible as an advisory board to submit an application for tourism money through ARPA?
Absolutely. They would be considered a sub-entity of the county, and we do allow that, so absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Good one, Chair.
Does that
get 'em,
mean,
guys.
does that mean that they can use the 55,000 that's left? Okay, yeah. It's a start. I mean, it's not all they need, but it's a start.
Yep, that is correct. It has not been requested yet as of this time, so we would just need that application, and I can get that over to you, so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
And I'll
Elliott, appreciate
remind
it.
them-
Mr. Bohannon? Mr. Bohannon, did you need a pen or pencil to help fill out that application?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I got 4 ready
Thank
to
you.
go. That's it.
Well, again, thank you, everybody, for your presentation. I know that there's other people in the public that want to speak because this presentation only. We don't open it up for public comment. I did allow the board members to speak. Please, if you're wishing to speak during general public comment, if you can keep it off of this item, that would be appreciated. But of course, we want to hear of your endeavors, events, your participation in Smoky Valley, in Carvers, in Round Mountain, in Hadley, et cetera, that area. Absolutely.
Chair,
Okay, we're going
Chair
to close
Jabbour?
this item. Yes, yes.
Would we be able to submit those letters of support into the public record? We have 20 letters here of support that they they're working and they just can't be here. And since they're not allowed to comment
Yes.
during the general public comment, would
Yes.
we be able to? Okay.
So I would say yes, but also make a copy and ensure that that's part of the backup through your application for any of the grants.
Oh,
as
gotcha.
well.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll close this item.
Thank you.
Thank you again, everybody. And we'll go to number 28, please, Manager.
Item 28, general public comment, up to 3-minute time limit per person. Action will not be taken on the matters considered during this period until specifically included on an agenda as an action item.
Do we have anybody on the phone, please, Sam?
Hi, Commissioner Jabbour. This is Samantha Fonga from Round Mountain Gold.
Chair, my apologies. There was an issue. I didn't remute the phone from the last item. But yes, there is a comment on the phone. That last caller will need to re-raise their hand. And while they're doing that, the next caller is unmuted, and speak and spell your name for the record.
Yes, Amy Nelson, Nelson. I just want to remind everybody that we're going to be having a rally to stop solar farms Saturday at 10 a.m. on the intersection of 372 and 160. And then on the 7th, we have the Conservative Women's Tea at 2 p.m. at the 6601 Fox Avenue. That's the Artesia Community Center. And we're going to be having our NRCC Gala on the 20th at the Nugget. So if you need any tickets for the Women's Tea or the Gala, contact somebody at the Nye County Republican Central Committee, or you can contact me through text or call me, and I can get you to the right person to get you some tickets. But that should do it. Other than, I really do want to put into everybody's head that maybe we can get a temporary moratorium on growth until we figure out more about our recharge and our use of water before we begin growing again. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nelson. Appreciate that information. Anybody else on the phone, please, Sam?
Yes, Chair. The caller is unmuted. Please speak and spell your name for the record.
Samantha Fonga, F-A-G-A. Thank you for having me today. So I just wanted to speak on behalf of Round Mountain Gold and our dedication to being a good community partner for all of Nye County, but specifically here in Round Mountain. It makes me excited to think that there are some opportunities to bring some more recreation to our community, as well as funding opportunities. So Round Mountain Gold is all about creating sustainable communities, and the community in Round Mountain is highly dependent on the mining industry. And as we know, eventually all mines do close. And our goal is through the next course of 10, 20 years, depending on what mine life looks like, is we help Round Mountain have sustainable ways to provide income and resources for the community. That would happen through recreation. Being that we are always good community partners, I wanted to remind the commissioners that we are always willing to step up and help, whether it's through funding, in-kind contributions, being really strategic for our Round Mountain community. As you all know, that sometimes we're the forgotten community, although this community here, if you look at any budget in Nye County, you look at the taxes that we pay, our net proceeds, our property tax, we provide so much funding to the rest of the county. And unfortunately, we have a lot of aging schools, lack of resources for our students and our youth, which has led to, in the past year and a half, to suicides and overdoses and things that are really tragic for our small community. So I plead with the commissioners to meet with us more, to come out and visit our community more, to partner with Round Mountain Gold more, to provide the same resources as every community from Pahrump to Round Mountain. Our students, our youth, our elderly community is just as important. I want to also thank Commissioner Jabbour. He is always willing to make the commute to Round Mountain and hear our needs and really work with us and work with the mine as well. So I just wanted to remind you again, Round Mountain Gold is here and is always willing to help and partner in any projects that the county and the commissioners see fit that would benefit our great community of Round Mountain. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Funga. Is there anybody else on the phone, please, Sam?
No, Chair.
Okay. Can you flip the camera in Pahrump? Is there anybody in Pahrump? Thank you. Okay. Hearing and seeing no public comment on the phone, Pahrump or Tonopah, we'll close public comment and move to number 29, please.
Item 29, Commissioner Manager comments. This item limited to announcements or topics and issues proposed for future workshops and agendas.
Thank you. Commissioner Strickland, I hope you're feeling well enough to help us close.
Thank you for putting up with my weakness here. I like the idea of an agenda item, please, moving forward with the Nye County Water District Governing Board as opposed to a workshop. Let's start with an agenda item and hear all that again so that we can answer more questions and bring the public in to that forum, please. I really appreciate all of you today, and thank you for letting me participate even in this fashion. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we appreciate you staying home and getting rested because we want you back in person. And get well soon, please, Commissioner. Commissioner Cox?
I have nothing at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Boskovich?
I have nothing other than it's lonely here without Debra right next to me.
Oh, not Commissioner Carbone?
Well, he's down the road when he's here.
Certainly not me. You're not missing me. Commissioner Carbone?
I resent all this information. I'm just kidding. Thank you for recognizing that I am here. Appreciate it. Manager, how many items do we have or buildings do we have that we charge only a small rent or a lease? You know, off the top of your head, is it more than just one?
No, I don't have that number, but it's not just one.
So it's many.
Yes.
Okay, just want clarity, because I know when somebody made mention about us just doing something for one specific place. I mean, we have veteran organizations that we're giving, the same treatment to, and some other organizations as well. So
we do, and they're mainly nonprofit organizations. They're not for profit.
Correct. Great. I appreciate you trying to get this meeting over. I know that you've been really quiet during the whole meeting, so thank you very much for getting us completed early. I have nothing else to say, Chair.
resemble that remark. Thank you, Commissioner. Well, you know, we always look forward to seeing everybody, and especially Deputy District Attorney Marla Zlotek. She would punish me if I didn't give my closing statement of protect your family and friends, which we talk about during the meeting. Conserving water, which we spoke about during the meeting. And spaying and neutering your pets. It's all very important. It's all very important. We're doing the best that we can to make Nye County really the best county to be in here in the state of Nevada. And I really believe that. So I want to thank everybody for your participation. And I will ask if there's any managers that wish to speak at this time. We have William Allen, who takes care of all of our buildings and grounds, and I'm not sure how he does it. He's back and forth and all over the county, and I've never seen him angered or stressed. He always has a smile on his face, and he's soft-spoken. Well, he's smiling now. Yeah, so we appreciate you and all the other directors and managers throughout the county that are pulling this county together. So, County Clerk? No? Manager? Assistant Manager? Anybody on the phone, Sam? Managers, directors?
No, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Well, we made another record, and so this meeting is adjourned. It's 1:28. Enjoy your lunches.
Thank you. Have a safe trip home.
Thank you.